Hello, 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 hello. Hello. Oh yeah.
Presented by Omen. We will start with the first one of the day. Sentinels, you were higher seed via the draw, so you will get to choose Team A or Team B.
Take Team A.
Team A. So KC will be Team B. Sentinels, we will start with yours.
Sentinel, 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 sentinel. Dude, मेरे को
Sunset and map number 1 from Sentinel.
कम करने दो आवाज, I guess.
Split, side
मतलब
on
मैंने देखा
split.
बहुत ज़्यादा तेज आ रही
Sentinel, side on bind.
Attack.
Attack. All right. Good luck to you both.
Thank you.
गुल्ले गुल्ले गुल्ले. ओए स्पिट आ गया. स्पिट लोटस बाइंड. आज यूरो खेलेगा पक्का टेंजू. आज तो यूरो हो जाएगा टेंजू का. तुम्हें पता नहीं है. मेरे को सारी लीक्स हैं.
It's the best possible match for map pool for a match I'm so excited for.
Yeah, I can feel the excitement already. So let's get this day started. It's going to be Sentinels versus Carmine Corn first, and later on we have EDG versus Gen G. That is day 3 for Masters Madrid, and it starts right about now.
चलो 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 आने वाला.
EDG, fourth time is the charm as they finally bested Paper Rex.
对于我来说，这是一个 PRX 是一座山吧。
बढ़िया खेला था भाई.
只靠我的名句，对，因为我的信念吧，因为我是世界第一人。
खुशी की बात है भाई, खुशी की बात है. जीते थे खुशी की बात है.
조금 지난 인 것 같아요. 제 IGL링 방식 자체가 팀원들이 잘하는 플레이 방식을 약간 돋아주면서 더 잘할 수 있게.
NG Crush Loud looking so good.
我觉得他们对于我来说是家人，所以说他们一直的相信，一直的对我的肯定，一直对我的支持，所以说我要做得更棒，所以说不能让他们失望，对于我失望，所以说我觉得我会带着这些东西一起前进，跟我的家人们。 저희가 남아있는 경기들도 좋은 성적으로 걷어갈 수 있도록 노력하겠습니다.
Any predictions for a match against Sentinels? So is it nostalgic being back with them? And how do you think it could go?
It's weird to be honest, because it's like happening deja vu, I'd say. Yeah, it's it's been 3 years. It's been a long time, so yeah, it would be quite cool to face them again, and this time to take the win.
Playing against Carmine Corp is definitely going to be tough. Narrate, I already knew he was a strong player when he was playing challengers here in NA. He was putting up really good numbers even though his team wasn't that strong.
Out and over,
नरेट तो भाई मेरे को बहुत बढ़िया लगता है.
I had a couple trials for NA teams and I think they were extremely well. It just I kind of got unlucky. The teams that qualify from NA are not like the teams that I expected to play for last season. Everything happens for a reason, and I'm here in Carmine Corp, and we're obviously doing way better.
अभी ये NA से EU में कैसे उसने ट्राई आउट कैसे दिया? चैलेंजर्स में ये अच्छा कौन सा टीम में था? देखते रुक जाओ, आज तो देखते इसे रुक जाओ बस. भाई है तो अपने रीजन का ही बंदा. तारीफ ही तारीफ करे जा रहे हैं उसकी.
Zekken is incredible player. I think we've all known this. He's just Zekken.
I would say the difference between 2022 Zekken and right now, I have a lot more experience than I did 2 years ago, and I'm a lot more confident in myself as a player than I was.
Going up against Sentinels will be quite a challenge. They're probably the most dangerous team at this tournament. For me, I don't really think about winning or losing. I just think about playing the game that's in front of me and
start कब होगा बे?
As a whole team, I think Carmine Corp is very strong, but I believe that I can outduel anyone in the world.
Mad लाइन था तभी नहीं पता मेरे को भाई सासी कह रहा होगा आज तो सारे किल लूंगा मैं
One of the biggest matches of Masters Madrid is coming right up. Sentinels versus Carmine Corp. The kickoff winners of their respective regions, NA versus EMEA, is a tale as old as VALORANT.
अब ऐसे पता है सारी अब तक जो फर्स्ट आई थी ना वही जीती हैं क्योंकि 1-2 का मैच था ना सबका मजा आएगा आज बहुत बढ़िया बात है कल वाला ही बहुत बढ़िया था
were the memes of their region, the teams with a lot of clout but no skill, and now they're the two squads defining the meta at the forefront of the VCT with some of the best players in the world.
And just because of that sweet stage, we get to see them head-to-head today. Maybe some would say a little early, but this is probably one of the matches that people were expecting the most. And not only the people, also the players. Of course, for Sentinels, they want to go up against the big guns of EMEA, and for EMEA, it's never different.
Okay, I did hear something in the press conference yesterday, and Martin was like saying that bunny is good luck for him. So if that bunny comes out, you know he's dropping 40k, apparently.
Le bon lapin.
I जब signal है तब करियो ठीक है
Oh, I'm so sorry.
You're
I'm
good,
so sorry.
you're
This desk, I forget the power that this desk has sometimes. But you know, these two teams. If you told me that we would be seeing this match in, you know, the first international event that VALORANT has, I would have been like alternate universe maybe.
Yeah, it is really shocking the comeback that both these teams have had. But I think the things to be excited for are first of all the map pool. We're starting on split. Sentinels looked unbeatable on this map in Americas, and it was the exact same for Carmine Corp. But they play incredibly different styles, playing the Yoru noise denial comp with this double dive for Carmine Corp, and playing the old standard comp, but just executing on it incredibly well. For Sentinels, this is a map about their protocols and how strong they are at finding the right timings on defense, at making the right calls. This is, in my opinion, the best map for both teams.
Protocols, that is the word, Mimi. Of course, Casey is going to try and disrupt and break the protocols for Sentinels who need to take think about those retakes, how good they've been in the region, especially when playing compositions like this one. They know how to administrate the utility throughout the round. They know how to, as I said, disrupt your position, your thinking, and your interpretation of the map. But this opponent is not going to be an easy one.
Kaplan in the press conference last night, he said that this tournament was about prep, was about anti-strat, because there was not a lot of turnaround time for teams to switch up their strats. The issue here is, for Sentinels, 14 hours of prep since their game last night. You gotta sleep for at least some of those. And on the other hand, Carmine Corp have had a good amount of time for Eng to come up with a counter strat. They're so good at implementing that.
Ooh, and right now, as we're seeing our agents,
कितना blue है भाई ये सारे blue लग रहे हैं
the Yoru that we talked about. So that head-to-head we talked about, like it's gonna be a double duelist this time.
I love the fact that we get the double duelist, that we get to see the split, because we're going to see now Ray playing on that duelist. We had enough of the initiator, and this duo also combined with Magnum and how he's going to be initiating and gathering that information is going to be key to the success of Casey.
Everyone's seen Sentinel's comp before, but if you haven't watched Carmine Corp's, the things to look for is how they're pairing the teleports in their comps with audio denial. They have Fade Seize, they have Fade Alt, they have Omen Paranoia. They have all these tools that take away your ears, and then they have Yoru Gate Crashes, Omen TPs to get behind you. They're so dynamic in the way that they double dive on their retakes on defense and on their attack side hits.
Yeah, exactly. And do not forget about the Astro as well, another key element there.
Well, let's get this match started.
Hey, he's here today as well, right?
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, forget the bundles, forget the clout. This is two teams, #1 seed in their respective regions, going at it for that straight shot to playoffs. It's all on the line here right now. I mean, we are expecting an absolutely incredible series between these two teams.
Especially given the map pool that we have in front of us. These are the teams playing at the top of their pools. And they're the teams coming from the regions that have lifted trophies in the past. The #1 seeds coming out from Americas.
Let's go.
There was no guarantee that we were going to get
Sentinel.
Swiss tossed the coin and it landed on a goated match.
कहाँ लगे वहाँ
Set
पे?
our sights here on to split, as you've already mentioned. Very good map for both of these teams. It's going to be
Default ही खेल रहे हैं
I'm sure as we get deeper and deeper into the series. I mean, we attribute a lot of the strengths of both of these squads down to their retakes, the fundamentals.
कल बट जो योरो उसने खेला ना वो तो बहुत ही बढ़िया था भाई. इसने अपग्रेड नहीं कर रखा है, मिलता है ऐसे नहीं.
Zekken did not buy the blast packs, go for the boom bot instead. Full utility on the sky, looking to try and play a more defaulty pistol. Punish the aggression from KC, which may be happening in mid actually as Thomas
Healing पे नहीं
a
है.
little bit of damage.
Almost first blood going away. Sentinels here, just a bit of chip damage and away.
Oof.
Spamming back and forth, exchanging with the bullets. No casualties. It is so slow going.
I was taking a look at Magnum and Martine, who were thinking about getting information over towards
अबे?
Heaven, but they didn't actually spot that SEN are going for the walk-up.
Contacts on contacts, but a stack of KC. They've got the players here. Pull, triggered, Prowler through, along with the decoy.
Fake कर
All
दिया.
the noise being made.
And the mid-round audible here now.
Nice.
30 seconds left. SEN were going to accelerate into the A side, but they're worried in case it's some kind of a trap. Zelsis goes for more info, punished, but that is finally going to make the call. Sassy gets the spot.
ज़्यादा ओवर एक्सटेंड कर दिया थोड़ा.
Exactly so. Now going to be paying close attention to this.
I mean, this is where the Sentinels protocols have been immaculate in Americas, constantly stopping their opponents from taking heaven control. Playing so well around that area, understanding what their opponents want to do.
Absolutely, make the same argument for Carmen Core here. Paranoia being held and primed, ready and waiting. Was a flash to set that right at the rate.
अरे नेड का
Unfortunate there, gets stuck into the wall. No rebound for Zek and the rest of now Carmen Core willing to just try and take the fight straight through into elbow. It's going to be some ground.
Nice.
Oh my, the bodies falling and toppling. Pistol round for Sentinels.
भाई
Lovely
मजा आ गया.
performance, really well played. Highlighting
Tens
the
भाई
strengths of SEN right from the
टुटू कर
beginning
दी.
there, which is that they understand how their opponents want to play on split. There is a meta that's developed over the course of probably the last year or maybe a little more, which is plan for heaven, try to retake heaven control as the post planners. The retakers are going to end up flooding often around that heaven area. And SEN are so good at anticipating what their opponents want to do and stopping
शैम्पू कर गया है जैकेट का सेल्सियस भी आज. शैम्पू कर गया.
The timings are all perfect.
Sure they can upset some of that. Well, a little bit in the weeds there. I mean, just catching on to one.
जा सकते थे साइड.
But they're going to be granted a ramp control deep in the position.
And this does look like a round where both teams have opted for the opposite side of things. KC stacking 4 players over towards B main, hoping that things were going to come into them. And instead, Sentinels getting a very easy A site. There was a lot of talk, Brennan, in
ये राउंड
America
भी जीतेगा
after
SEN.
Sentinels went on their fantastic
दो
run
ने मर सकते हैं.
about whether
इतना.
this version of them playing split was just the best in the world. And for me personally, it looks awesome, but you have to see it tested at an event like this and go up against other top teams like KC, for example, before you can make claims like that.
अरे सासी भाई सासी का एम कहाँ गया? पता नहीं. भाई मैं समझ गया. मैं नोट कर रहा हूँ ये चीज़ कि क्या होता क्या है.
So it will be nice and easy sailed round. Shin the last one left and time ticking away. I'm going to be paying close attention as well. We're going to talk about general matchups into this. I mean, on this map, we get an absolute treat, don't we? Narrate versus Zekken on the Razor, that head-to-head.
Yeah. I mean, what a head-to-head. That really is spectacular. And Tens has moved off the Yoru on bind just, Unfortunately, exactly aligned with when he could have gone up against Martin, as we were thinking of later on into the pool.
The rolls might get funky. I mean, the rates playing all sorts.
योरू वर्सेस योरू देखने में बहुत मजा आता है भाई, बहुत क्रेजी होता है, बहुत क्रेजी हो तो बहुत पसंद है.
And Sentinels with a great buy themselves. Second picks up the judge. He was talking about how much he was playing that on Split during his rank games since being in Madrid.
That was advice he gave me in Korea. He was like, if you're losing your rank games, just force a judge.
Well, we'll see how it works for him.
Getting in their faces. It was definitely working out the other day in their match versus Heretics. Trailblazer straight in the middle, up the gut, through the side. Prowler knifed. Zekin set up for success and even more. He's deep now.
गन उठाएगा ये तो.
Looks like he wanted to try and overextend, but now here we go, an attempt to try and reclear into mid. Trip, Broken John might be in some trouble, has to call for some backup and reinforcements. Fights happening all over the bloody place, yet still the movement is clean. Samuel there, Trip in his face.
3v2, 3v2, do well.
Side has been really taken, territory now for Sen. Chemical forced to slow it down now, side by side, Narrate and Shin. Going to be holding hands through this one, but they've got a lot to chew through.
This one way that Shin's looking to pop, very difficult for the post planners to deal with. Celsius goes for a peek early on.
Oh, nice smoke.
It's a bit of that information, yet close to Raptors, close to the corner. Narrate plucks him out. Now brings it to the 2v2 with an aid rebounding. Do they know? Did he expect it towards new box? Half clearance. Celsius just the one done. Shin.
भाई शिन, अबे सासी गेम को क्या हो गया है भाई? सासी भाई का एम इतना तो बढ़िया है. लाउड में भाई वो धड़ 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 मारता था, सेन में भी धड़ 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 मारता है. यहाँ पे आगे क्या हो गया है? गॉड टियर प्लेयर है भाई. यार ये राउंड था सेन का.
Great awareness though, really well cleared all of these different angles. Very fast from Shin clearing out these two final players to trade Narrate too. So it's a big round and Magnum gets on his feet early. But things do not get any easier. Like I said, the economy is in a really rough spot right now for KC. They come into this next round with 2 Bulldogs and a Stinger.
लो.
Quite weak. Martin going to be set up.
क्या रखेगा इसके नीचे?
ये.
Just to back out in case it's necessary. Sentinels opting for a much slower beginning. A bit of spam exchanged. Led Halen down on either side.
And KC's retakes have been fantastic. Both of these teams look amazing on the split retakes. But Sentinels will try and force the fights before that's even a possibility.
Flash. Chance for the repeat needs. Gonna fly straight past each other. He's already way further ahead than anticipated.
एग्रेशन के अगेंस्ट एग्रेशन खेल रहे हैं ना. केसी बहुत एग्रेसिव खेलती है, फाइट लेती है.
He's done it with the knife and with the run and gun movement with the Phantom there. It just ruins what KC are going for.
Mechanical ability off the charts. Tomsey feeling the heat, turned up, sent out the paranoia, but now backs away. Trying to play for the life. Giving up heaven control, gives up B as a result, but maybe I'll be able to just pick him apart from the side here. Is he going to get lucky with a few stray bullets? Not quite. Sassy. Minor bruises, basically. It's going to be that plan down now with 5 players up and kicking. Martin holding that flash out.
Nice.
Magnum not expecting it, not anticipating it. Showstopper now earned.
This is what I'm talking about. Sen forcing the fights before the retake can even happen. The swing timing there from Zekin was excellent. It shut this retake down before it could even begin. And KC were getting so many of these 4v5 round wins against FPX because FPX would, I mean, to be kind to them, throw it away. And Sen are just not going to do that. If they get up early, they have the discipline and the player strength to be able to close this out. They've been working on that since October. Both of these teams grinding away in separate regions. But I think one of the biggest things that we're seeing here that's allowed Zekin to get the entry both of these times is that he's just disrespecting the Prowlers. He knifed one of the Prowlers, got through and managed to get a kill with the judge. And then this time,
just run straight past him.
Narrate thinks there that the Prowler's got a tag onto somebody, I think, or at least he's putting pressure on someone and giving him space to be able to swing. That is not the case. Zekin was so ready for that. He's 7-1 on a tag side split right now.
Dominating. Much like last night as well. I mean, Sentinels talk about this team. Last one's out, first one's in. Haven't had much time to prepare for this one, but the form factor playing its part here. All the Sentinels players looking warmed up and ready. B main control. It's going to be the name of the game. So Sentinels are giving it basically for free, just the one snake bite in exchange for that one.
And most of this pressure has been coming through mid. This time, Zekken moves his way over towards B main. Tomaji might have gotten a spot there.
Oh, it's going to get explosive. Yeah, as soon as he spots that one, Paranoia.
Good flash.
Good to send that one out, yeah. Actually fantastic, but still close to the corner. Ducks.
A bit.
How the hell is he getting that? Wrong target, but he'll take it most likely. The nade rebounds, and Zekken, man, he's going to build himself up to another one.
That's unbelievable. And a snipes Martin up there, I believe it was, with the showstopper, and then also gets a nade kill too.
Unreal. And Sen, easy as it goes, isn't it? Look at that, they can pick and choose the targets. Who wants to get the plan? Who wants to earn it? Ult next, Sassy. Okay, you're up. Keep the war machine chugging.
And that's the big thing, right? Once you start to get momentum like this was only a bit of an anti-eco round. KC still had 3 rifles, if you want to call the Bulldog a rifle as well. But it wasn't a full buy for them. Sen used a big
Gym
ult,
time,
but they
gym
managed to get another
time,
one
gym
on
time.
multi. So this
Gym
ult
time,
now
gym
can
time,
start
gym
to
time.
push forwards, and things only get more difficult trying to hold off Zekken when he has the Seekers.
ये नीचे लग गया हमारा यार अजीब सा
And this is
पर
all
होता है
before we get to see Sen playing on the defense side, where I think they've also looked spectacular. In fact, they might have looked better if you were thinking about how you weigh up their attack versus defense side split.
Yeah, I mean, I would make that argument. Defense side, they have so many different looks on it now. Carmen Court, as we've already mentioned, haven't really had time to pick themselves back up after the series of losses. The economy has never really been honest at any of these points. Look at them working with classics there for Magnum. I mean, now you're going to see, hopefully, a bit better weaponry. I mean, it's half armor, couple of rifles, still the bullet being kept.
खेल हुआ था ना इसका 2 बार उसने टीममेट हार दिया
For Sentinels to mix some stuff up. Zekken, by the way, still 10-1. Still yet to be punished more than one time. He's dominating.
Absolutely frying.
And this looks like, once more, the pressure's going to come towards mid. And Martin and Magnum have been trying to get aggressive in this area. They just haven't found the opportunities.
An attempt to take an early fight there, but we're looking a little bit out of sync with the high-low, but Martin's been pushed forward, so they want to fight this.
I think Martin is just looking to catch Zekken as he powers his way up mid. Trying to position himself into an unusual spot.
Really close, Trailblazer. Using the close corner, Martin wasn't stunned up there actually. Catching the stage. Does Martin not have his gatecrash? I'm not too sure.
But he did a lot of damage to Sassy. So there has still been damage done there, even though it was a 1-for-1 trade.
Call is made.
Yeah, this push through is an excellent idea from John Cutie. No Sentinel on the other side for KC means that these gaps do exist.
They're going to be aware of ramp players though. Seekers, they should be now. Used spam down and spray down, so Narrate gets both of them.
Are they aware how deep John and Tens are?
It seems like it. Look at that, Narrate watching for the avenue as a game of time is, but he is going to be grounded. What, no way! Walked straight into him, should have been a freebie, was not. Shin has got so much more to do now. Perfect paranoia, that's 10 setting his team up, but will there be anything to capitalize? It's him himself. The one to follow through, man.
Absolute dismantling so far. In terms of the entry in terms of the lurk play there too, it looked like Narrate had it. His crosshair's in the right place, but I don't think he anticipated the timing being that quick. And this puts an enormous burden onto Magnum and Tomaji.
Running away with the early section of this half here. Horn sent wide. Paranoia only on the one. Zelsis holds it down, but as the instantaneous trade,
nice.
He does not expect that position. So it's 5-1. Sentinels really looking like just the mid-round calling. The ideas initially off the rip, even when KC seemed to get that minor advantage with the first kill, there's always that instant trade coming out.
No, they are absolutely crushing them right now in every department. These are the kind of banger matchups that when one team when you haven't had the opportunity to experience how the two clash and collide, you don't exactly know which way it's going to go.
No.
And when you see it play out like this, you're like, wow, this is spectacular, the way that Sen are just handling everything that KC are throwing at them. But I also feel like KC are not actually being able to define the tempo at any point in these rounds. Maybe this, and an eco round where they can take more risks, could be the one.
This is the time to do it. Peeking wide, Shin will respect it now. Shows presence though, so Sen are going to be wanting to re-clear B main just in case.
This Astra smoke does make it a little difficult to do that though. especially when Zelsis has the pit online, which he's gonna want for a post-plant situation, probably. If things get dangerous, perhaps he could save it for a rifle.
Abundance of caution from Sentinels here, up against that weaker buy, for good reason.
Haunt thrown over towards A right now, so Karmine Corps start to stack B. It didn't see anybody. Sassy might decide to try to use some Sky Util to pull people back away from the B site before this pop happens. But also that means that there won't be initiator utility with the site hit.
Narrate's running away, no, going back to heaven. Close corner, flash, Martin collects.
That's a great punish, it gives them the kill and it tells them to keep stacking B.
Here we go, Util being forced out of them with Paranoia going flying. To pull on top of it, Tens cannot get through. In fact, spam down to just single digits of HP. There's 20 seconds left. Narrate's still there with the rocket in his back pocket. It's going to be pretty monstrous here. Pit just to get themselves out. 14 seconds left. Time becoming an issue up top. Second, but Narrate 2 for 2 on the way. Karmine Corps full control. And no more chances here. No more chances at all for Sen. That's the danger when you take it slowly. That abundance of caution that I was talking about prior. Doesn't matter if you're playing against the half-buy. When you take your time like that, these teams are going to punish you.
I think the big play, I mean, I can't believe, by the way, that Zekken, even in a round where they lose, is pulling out that kind of stuff. But yeah, that is the combo of the ultimate there too. The Yoru ultimate so that you can spam into the pit. The Raze ult that comes through locking up the round. But the pick that Martin got onto Sassy told them exactly what the play was. And that's what they've been missing the entire time. They've never been able to read what's happening, and even if they got the read, Zekken bowled them over.
Karmine Corps back into it. Be more than happy with it. Zelsis ended up using the pink cry here.
That one way is a little difficult.
Hello. No disrespect from Zekken. It's not for the util.
And he's one away from getting his ult online. How passive these positions are. Great. Really far back in spawn.
Martin expecting player to walk right past the back wall there, holding his crosshair for it, but Sen have got different ideas. With ramp control game by John QT, he's lurked himself up there, caught that timing, so with that cleared, the rest of his team now regroups and meets him from mid.
Shin is looking very isolated on the A site. Narrate's trying to get into a position where it could help him. Now gets smoked off. That's going to be a danger signal. Alarm bells ringing.
Yep, Tens, ult. Does this a lot to just try and gather that information.
They're going the other way.
Like what he sees, yeah, going in the opposite direction. Players still ready here to meet them. Close to the corner, Martin has to do more than that, but he still gets the one kill for him. And B main control is there with Thomas. He smokes himself off now, pouring into the side of Sentinels. 20 seconds left. Nightfall, Paranoia near sighted. Spike, drop down. Karmine Corps rapidly approaching the position. And there's no way for Sen to bail themselves out. That is Karmine Corps again in complete control.
Another lovely round there. Finding out what's going on with that constant control of B main. So this time, Zelsis not deciding to re-clear that area of the map gave KC good info. Now, they could have been miles away from the play. If they decided to commit A there into Shin and Narrate, who was not, in screens, then that round could have been very successful for Sen. They decided to pivot in the opposite direction and ended up falling straight into that crossfire from Tamazi.
क्या हो गया भाई ये?
Zekken ult online though to try and get things back in the hands of Sentinels. I feel like Karmine Corps have had their most success actually by trying to play for the late round information and the late round picks rather than forcing the fight early on where, we saw Narrate and Martin getting punished in those earlier rounds.
It's almost like a stalemate just being drawn initially. Exchange that util, waiting for it out. Tomsey is going to be in trouble here, potentially. Forwards now with the ult flash into the corner. Rocket rebounds, there's no kill there. Tomsey's already repositioned. Spray by Tens. Wrangles the beast, eventually takes out the raid. Evacuation was successful, so Tomsey is alive, and now he's going to be setting his house back up with the orb up. He's got a free walkout into the site, wraps back to the pillar, sees potential connection. Players are weak, and this is an interesting one, it's an unusual one. Neural theft gives him an idea of where these players might be. The positioning's now highlighted, pointed out, 40 seconds left, but they don't have heaven control. No real way to play this one, and fight this doubled up together. The double swing is called!
Nice.
Finds two, flash through, Martin, lucky for that one. Straight bullet, just going wide, but it finds the target. And a necessary one at that with 25 seconds left.
25 seconds, Tens is going round the world. He's got his knife out, trying to make this play happen, but Martin's already read it.
Watching.
They know there's no noise being made here. Someone must be going for a flank. He's missed the angle.
Sassy trying to push the players and pull them away. They're looking the wrong way. Shit up top. Oh my!
क्या हो रहा है?
Of differences.
A comedy or a tragedy, depending on which side of the equation you're on. But that round came down to, as you said, the smallest things. Martin was so aware that a flank was coming through, he just believed that he could spot the head. And then the tap is beautifully timed from Sassy to pull attention away. Tins had no idea where Shin was.
No idea.
Just didn't clear afters. And now KC have won 3 rounds in a row to get themselves back into this. It looked dominant for Sentinels, but they have lost their grip on this map so far. Oh, here we go, the paranoia play.
Yeah, Dimensional Drift sets it up as well. Pinged out a multitude of targets. Martin.
Too many.
Exited out, yeah.
Far too many for Martin to deal with.
And I guess John QT is just playing anti.
That is such a nice play.
Nice, go side, go side, go side. Go side. Go side.
A lovely set play from Karmine Corp. Looked fantastic when they ran it in EMEA, but with 3 players there from Martin, bit off a little more than he could chew. And Ten's got the punish. So this does look like now a round where Sentinel should be massively favored. Magnum's positioning is the one that I'm looking at, down mid. Wondering if he could get some kind of flank timing to turn this round. But it does look very much like Sentinel should be favored.
Should be. Right, narrates down already onto the floor. He's caught the backhand a second.
And nobody in behind to try
Nobody
to get the
to
trade.
follow up. Spray. Magnum almost there with it. Nasty, nasty stuff.
So
3
much
players
danger.
moving, pivoting. 40 seconds left. Making their way over towards mid, but they're making all the noise in the world. So Narrate is hot on their heels. He's right behind them. He's making a call for it.
But he can't afford to make noise, so he's got to travel more slowly. And that's allowed Sentinels the timing to be able to get into the site. Surely somebody is going to be watching for this.
Surely, right, but doubled up.
Now this is where the Astral could be useful. Not going to be comboed, obviously, with Martins.
It's all about this crossfire setup. First point of contact, close to hell. It's John QT. Boombot will clear him.
And actually,
his position up top. Takes the fight.
Oh, it was all trying to distract as well for Shin to get this timing. And now I fear it is simply too late.
कितना सेव करते हैं भाई?
Not even going for it, despite the money. Obviously, 2 of his players still basically brought down to 0, but you can feel
Shin भाई केडी बना रहे हैं
how back
अपना.
and forth these 2
केडी
teams
maintained
are
रहना
so
चाहिए.
closely matched.
It is gutting, though, for Karmine Corp. When you've been having a lot of success, letting the rounds tick down and playing for kind of late round advantages, and you decide, right, we've won 3 in a row, let's change stuff up and go for an aggressive play at the beginning. And that's just Martin not quite realizing that one of the players wasn't caught by the paranoia. Even if they all had been, there might still have been a bit too much there for him to deal with. But Eng is now going to call a timeout. We're headed into a tactical pause for Karmine Corp. Like I said, they tried to adjust the tempo there, but I feel like everything they've been doing in the early round, SEN have had the advantage. But it is so difficult to play patiently and slowly with their composition when you don't have a Cypher or a Killjoy or something like that giving you information.
Yeah. Double duelist, I mean, it necessitates, I think, as well, some of those aggressive plays that you see. Because otherwise, you're starved of that mid-round information. You don't have a clue, really, where players might be landing. When the rounds go late, that seems to be where Karmine Corp are favoured.
But we are onto our 11th round, and this only the first time out that either of the coaching staffs has taken.
Right.
Yeah, playing things, you know, trusting their team, even when they were down 5-1, I believe it was, to begin this. So Eng is now going to have his input. The only head coach at this event who's won a Masters before. Which is madness, but that shows you how new a lot of these teams, rosters, coaches are to the big stage here at Madrid. It was a very unusual qualification process. It does feel a little bit like a new era of Valorant, if indeed they can win out against the old guard, of which SEN, frankly, are kind of representing the old guard here. Sassy, Zelsis, Tens, all been to very many of these Masters events, or ones that happened a long time ago.
Karmine Corp, young and spry, looking to try and take a big scalp early, but got to offset this disadvantage in the round. It's a flash repeat through, stun, a little bit too late, Martin. Rips the head clean off Zekin's shoulders.
And they decide to fight that. I mean, a massive fight there. Comboing the Prowlers with the Boombot, so they have even more utility to try to stop Zekin from entering. That's the first time they've actually blunted the tip of the spear.
Flash connects. Second one used now. Sassy, no more left available to him. Sees.
That is a big seize.
Does connect, yeah. Stops him in his tracks for just a moment. Smoke, finally. Props up. Divides up the site. That's going to be putting the fear of God into them. I think Thomasy just setting that one down, but they realise backside is going to be cleared. Planting a default spot. What's the call now for Sentinels? An aggressive play into the spawn. Paranoia. Oh my, it's almost perfect. Thomasy though, he's got the escape. Planned down at the back of his head, just a TP away, having control, not giving up at all. TP, heard by Tens, breaks it. No funny business allowed. The rate already in, leading the charge and through the back. Twisting and turning, Tens is brought back up, but it's a 1v3. And now he's got to weave and dodge and juke. Diffuse, being stuck by Shin, half on it already. Too much to deal with, too much to deal with.
यार हो सकता था.
Impressive there, that spray control. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried for a moment. But Shin had it under control, and frankly, the numbers just a little too much there for Tens to deal with. What a retake from KC. That's probably the first one where we've seen them have a proper execute on that. They really nicely come out of this timeout with two big plans. One to stop the early round aggression, in the way that Zekin was dominating them in those first 6 rounds, and the other to be able to set up a clean B retake.
भाई कैसे पैनिक होते हैं ये देखो.
One to stop the early round aggression, in the way that Zekin was dominating in those first 6 rounds, and the other to be able to.
भाई पूरा से कॉप क्या हो?
Hello. But almost equalized.
And with a major tool in their back pocket with regards to Narrate's ultimate.
आज मेरा कैमरा थोड़ा नीचे हो गया.
Slow rounds. And in fact, it was a bit of an eco when Narrate used his showstopper before to be able to get success.
Presence. Prior conditioning by Sen here. Usually there's a player following up. Usually Zekin with the Trailblazer.
This time though, the Prowler not catching onto anybody until it hits Sassy. So I think they can be fairly sure that that isn't where Zekin's going for. Martin!
Wow.
He tries to go for the info peak. Punished.
I know exactly what to set it up here. Neural theft as well. So info gathered. Notice anchoring spot, but what do they choose to commit into? A call again made to just contact through.
You do not want to give a timing here for Narrate to pop his ult.
That's what it comes down to. Nade rebounding. Satchels now in towards the back of the side.
यार कोई push क्यों नहीं कर रहा उधर?
That's 3 in a round. Rocket might not even be necessary. Narrate. Fuse running out, doesn't know where to fire it. Pre-fire into the corner. That is ridiculous. And now just Tens. Last alive. Disconnecting, snapping the cord and the tether. The C's not there with a paranoia.
वो भी करेगा स्पॉट लेना. यहीं पड़ गया.
What a return to equalize.
अरे बैटरी है तेरे पे? वो मेरा एक डब्बा था वो ले गए. क्या करूँ?
Thomasy's also playing smokes, but Shin and Tens up towards the top of the scoreboard, and Shin with a perfect cap put on the end of that.
Absolutely impeccable stuff from the anchor in position. Now earlier we heard from the Rate, even before this match as well, heading into things. Let's see what he had to say.
तो फिर बंद कर देना. मैं वो दे देता हूँ. Just say, अरे sorry. मैं क्या वो
I didn't really have any doubts about whether or not
power bank did
national stage. For me, I don't really think about winning or losing, but me personally, like every game that we played in EMEA, I just felt like we couldn't lose.
Flying here, but again, no connections. Martin towards the back. Trying to go wide here with a dizzy. Narrate is on one, man. He's on one. Almost there for the ace, but 4 kills eventually shut down in the end, but 7-0.
Merci to the French fans. I appreciate everybody for coming out. It's incredible that so many French fans come to Madrid just to watch us play a video game. It's really an incredible thing, and I can't thank you guys more.
certainly filling up with quite a lot of that. The cheers from the blue wall. You can hear it building, emanating.
And with all of the success that Zekken had on the attack side playing Raze, now our eyes are going to look towards Nurey, who you just heard from, and Martin together. The double-pronged tip of the spear. Does that make it more of a fork, I suppose, the Karmine Core two-pronged fork? But Karmine Core's composition, the double duelist, I think it does look
बैटरी
better
मॉडल तो
on the
हो रहा है,
attack
हो
side
जा
than
हो
the
जा
retakes.
हो रहा
You know, not
है
so much in that
दाढ़ी
mid-round
उड़ानी
battle
पड़ी भाई
on defense.
नीचे से इतना अजीब सा वो आता है
Storm, they won 5 out
तो
of
लग रहा है
the
यार
last 6 rounds.
जंगली
Able
बैठा
to
हूँ
tie this
अभी
one up. And now we get our second part of this big
ऊपर से
discussion.
अच्छा है
The things are even here. It resets. We know that Sentinel's retakes have looked
सामने से आते हैं सब
unbelievably good. Does Karmine Core offer them the opportunities?
Oh.
Are they able to get advantages early on? What does this half look like?
तो सच है
Familiar scenes from the previous half of how slow going it was just off the rip.
All of this is all just a fake to allow Karmine Core's players to
छुट्टी पे
mostly try to
कॉलेज
take
की
space on A.
It's pulled back forwards. I mean, you've got 4 players of Sentinels looking for a reclear fight through the smoke.
क्या हो रहा है
Setting up for the flash through and the timing gone away.
नाइस नाइस 3v3 3v3
2 for 2 here. Karmine Core
हमें
in
दिख
the
गए
meantime walking away through. Going to be hearing them on the ropes, and now the sound cues betraying them.
John deciding whether or not to swing, tried to find a timing, didn't quite manage it. Tens still with paranoia, so they still have flash nade to be able to put
उसको
pressure
देखो वो
on
कहाँ है
players. Martin though is very far away. Do they anticipate this?
Miles away. Got exactly what they needed. Trip wasn't broken. They're walking all the way in again. Tens opens himself up, just showing himself at the back. Nade rebounds. Paranoia now. Kind of connection if there is going to be any sort of follow-up from behind. Martin has already caught them. And it's all up to John. Low enough, dodges the flash, expecting and anticipating, but now 2 players to deal with. The reposition is immaculate from the rate.
बी रेड ओके ओके बाय बाय मत कर
Be more than happy with
बाय
Yeah. Great attempt there from Karmine Core. I think they looked
नहीं
coordinated
मत
as a
कर
team. You could
मत
see that they had a clear game plan going into it. That got disrupted a little bit by the camera. Their team was thinking about calling the audible and going to punish the players in mid. They decided, no, let's just commit to site, play a post plant, where Martin's positioning, even though he was tripped off, ended up being really important. That pistol means so much. You were tied 6-6. You've taken the lead for, I think,
बस
the
रुक जा
first time in this map.
feeling of control returning a little bit for Karmine Core. Too used to being on the back foot. Hasn't happened too much, really.
No, and it's another one of these rounds where we're just seeing both teams rotate around away from each other.
Narrate's hunting. Yeah, he's hunting. You can smell the blood in the water. Backing down, wants a little bit more as well. Just some stray warning shots popped off.
It would be a major ultimate to try to get up.
कैसे भी नहीं कर रहा
And I think the other reason is both of these teams want to play disruptive against the other team's retakes. You see that on paper, both of these teams have ridiculous retake win percentages, especially on split. So trying to play aggressive and catch timings in the post plant, one of the best ways to disrupt that.
Hello.
That's an anticipation from John Cutie though.
Expecting it. Surely no danger though in the round.
I don't believe so. I think
सारे मर जाएंगे
they do not want to start the ult cycle going for KC. It's disciplined. It's a good call.
Yeah. Not enough time there. We're going down.
Martin did actually manage to pick up a kill, but he was nowhere near getting the ult line. So this is going to be a pretty dry bonus round with some good weaponry, but no danger particularly coming from the ultimate side of things. We've seen KC not really relying on too many of their set play ideas here. They threw kind of 1 in, 2 I suppose, the B retake, and then that aggression with the Euro ultimate and the paranoia. But on their attack side, we could still see
अब देखते हैं क्या करेगी सासी भाई तेरा अच्छा बट भाई सासी खेल बहुत बढ़िया है मर जाता है आजकल उसका भाई पता नहीं क्या हो गया केडी को
Through there with a flash prowler. Right through the snake bite. They do not care, and Tens just taking a peek there from heaven. Punished. Celsius is spotted. Boombot lucky. He gets away, hightailing it, but guess what? Right behind him is Narrate.
Sentinels are trying to apply pressure with these peaks in B Heaven. The first one got punished. Zelsis also looking for information, seeing if he can catch somebody. It's a little worrying here if John Cutie gets pushed away, but Shin almost taking the fight.
There it is.
Yes.
Right into it. Good crosshair placement from Zelsis, and he recognizes it as a threat coming from behind Satchel.
Nice.
What is that? QT quality tactics. This man just hitting nasty shots. C's avoided.
3-2.
Now, but 2 players left to stand here for Carmen Court. Spike in their possession.
Look at this flank. This is really nice from Zekken and Sassy. It's going to be unexpected.
30 seconds left.
Magnum's stuck in the middle of the map. He doesn't know where to go here. They only have 25 seconds.
Wandering out to 20
John's
seconds.
read it.
This fight is so important.
Unbelievable.
He wins that. 4 HP and a dream.
And now look how far away they are.
They are miles away, but they know it.
अबे भाई क्या हो रहा है?
So they can get a jog on and get a move on.
Oh, he missed it.
Magnum, he missed it. Tries to stick it again for the plant. Luckily, tied.
वो satchel करेगा.
Spare, horn, thrown. That's a critical mistake, honestly. He might not have time now to reposition. Backing to the pillar. Fast through Satchel. In the back! And that's just good comms. Knowing that Magnum was that low, all adds up for Zekken to just run him down with a classic.
Very well done. I'm amazed, frankly,
क्या
that
round
John
था
was
भाई?
able to get both of those kills. It did look a little off from KC. As Narrate went for that blast pack peak, where was the second player? The spacing, not quite there. Now, John's aim, fantastic. And the spray control, too, to be able to pick up the second is ridiculous. But KC are going to need to have super tight play if they want to be able to keep this advantage.
भाई हमें थोड़ा सासी प्ले चाहिए भाई यार मेरे को सासी को मारते देखना भाई क्या क्लच करता है 2 दिन से नहीं मारा कल भी नहीं मारा
Around 4 but a haunt and a TP, so gain control, Nightfall scatters. Going right, Sassy.
ठीक है पापा ठीक है
He's not follow up yet, can't see or hear. Bloody thing, Narrate already into the back of the side. Magnum now with the plant. And Narrate wants to go hunting for a little bit more this time, aware of it. Both of these teams trying to disrupt that retake potential, and it's only just equalized it now 4-2-4. How does this get played? Into the post plant, players close up. Into the position still with the paranoia available. Flash through, now paranoia, it's there. Spraying forwards, gate crash wide. Done to Martin, but he still survives. Alive and kicking into the back of the side is Magnum, tucking. Dodging, weaving, tens.
Nice.
This is relentless by Sen.
Really lovely play. Relying on that individual ability that's coming out from Tens and Zekken. They've been tearing apart the KC players. Taken. You see the difference in style.
And वो भी
really solid awareness to be able to punish Narrate, who went for a piece of aggression.
सुना भी
Now that Sen are expecting. But in terms of just also the duels won, I mean, Tens is swinging. Not completely alone, but certainly going to try to take the 1v1s. And they're winning them. So now the score is 8-8, but the economic advantage in favor of Sen.
सब लोग खाते हैं च्युइंगम
Sen have ults.
मैं ही हूँ एक साल बाद खाई थी 2-3 दिन पहले एक साल बाद खाई 2 दिन पहले
Got spotted by the prowler. Yep, spotted, haunt, cleared. He needs some help here. Decoy forwards, showstopper. Relieved from Zekken. That was just to try and spot that one player. He's got a timing. He's right past them. Ships in the night.
क्या हो रहा है?
Shin wins it out, but still the follow up there from Tens. Hopping across the box. His man is just hunting them down.
Since भाई
Fight in mid had gone slightly better. Narrate's timing might have been worth something, but now is stuck in a 1v4. They have the timing to be able to go and look for him, and they pick it up. Sentinels deal with that. It was scrappy, but they came out to the good in mid. That was absolute chaos, but I'll tell you what, Zekken and Tens look amazing in those spots. When things get really messy. Look at Tens here. The way that he plays around all of the smokes and decides to go in aggro, he just looks really aware and quick.
10 crosshair from tomorrow. Okay, मतलब
He's gonna pick up the operator. We saw some unbelievable rounds.
I mean, some silly rounds.
One in particular.
एक तो मेरे को भी वही वाला
Fast up mid for KC.
Punished. Oh, it's a big player for Carmen Core, especially when he had the rocket available, but he's taken out early. Haunt broken. Spam.
The molly was
position.
The molly was amazing from Zelsis. He caught a little bit, I believe, of vulnerable onto Narrate, so that he only needed half the spam to be able to take him down. Great punish. I mean, the that so quickly and land it and not get caught with utility in your hands. Very sharp. Pressure back on KC.
Yeah. Silence settling in, isn't it? Comical don't really have that advantage. Maybe just hoping to fake some presence with Marty on the other side of the side, but a jiggle is good from Sassy. He gets that information now. Gets himself back. Sentinel's not really biting that one. Already to full rotation coming through. But time to spare for Carmine Court. They fake and switch and pivot.
And Martin has been continuing to put a little bit of pressure onto John Cudy's setup. He knows that there's a Cypher playing here. He knows where this trip is too. His clone caught it. Didn't break it, of course. But he hasn't made too much noise up here.
As we divide. Feels like B now, but breaking the trips as well. It's all over the place. Celsius just takes a peek. And Zekken, is your turn to shine. Swings out wide. There's that operator. Hello! What a surprise. 12 seconds left. There is no way in hell.
Nice.
Martin has any chance in this round now. Just got to give it up. Waiting at the sidelines now, and the team going to be simmering.
Economy crushed. This is where SEN are starting to pull away. And it's not based on the retake stuff. It's based on punishing, again, that level of aggression from KC. And they did win one of the previous important rifle rounds by going for a slower paced retake, stopping their 8 from getting inside that smoke. But these rounds, they've just shut Carmine Core's early round ideas down. And now SEN are primed to pull away to a 3-round advantage, only 2 away from taking the map. This is where things really matter. The pressure starts to mount, and these players who are new to a stage this big, most of them, going to be listening to their coaches here, getting that input and trying to stabilize themselves. They did look a little bit shaky, I would say, in the game against FPX to open things up. I don't think it was the best performance we've seen from KC. Today looks a bit cleaner, but how are they going to perform in the big moments, the ones that test you and add all of that mental weight?
Could argue outside of that EMEA finals, there really hasn't been anything bigger. Think about the stakes of this one. You win.
क्या होता है यहाँ पे?
Book the ticket to the
भाई लोग
playoffs.
तो आए देखने.
Not just a couple of days rest, but listen, that's preparation time. That's you going through as presumably one of the higher seed.
And that's dodging the other sharks in the water.
Oh yeah, that low. I mean, we call it a lower bracket, but I mean, the losing teams, there are no bad teams at this event.
Nah. So KC here have some ultimates that might end up making the difference. Martin could get the dimensional drift online this round and cook something really interesting up. We're not counting Carmine Core out by any means, but SEN are favored here. And look, Zekken with the op.
Adjusting. Nails a shot straight into narrate. Backing away here with a paranoia. Has to respect the TP. Through into the back of the site.
Plant पे नहीं आएगा.
We're going to be given this one. What's the call now? Grouped up. Looks like it. Ready to try and take this fight. Shorty. Close flash. Satchel. Great movement. Zekken is blinded up entirely there. Couldn't see a bloody thing. And I also have another go. What a snap. And what an adjustment. A rifle for your troubles. And now the fight taken straight to them. They can't withstand it. It's kind of pushed his way too much. And even Shin spotted out. Poor
भाई क्या round था?
That is an amazing round from Zekken.
Second भाई.
And the setup from the rest of his team.
God. तुम्हें क्या आता है stream पे?
For him to be able to blast back onto them. Insane value from the blast packs. He's full blind when he decides to use the one to disengage.
Get the hell out of here.
And then goes back in with the shorty. And that's following up on that blind.
Punishing the aggression, the game plans of Carmine Core. Picked apart, plucked apart, the threads are unraveling.
And this round, it's a must-win for KC. Rifles, ults, they have it all.
Now's the time to offer. Gotta get your head back in the game.
Raise भी करेगा.
Try and stand a chance, but with big enough sense defensive sides here. Flash connects, giving that information forwards. Dimensional drift can be clearing out that site, so it gives Carmine Core the go-ahead. They know it's now fully cleared out. Stray bullet. Sassy's a kill trick. Set that one up. Rocket forwards. Everybody narrowly avoiding, just dodging away from it. Fuse running out. Zekken.
Damage.
Damage. Sassy though, he's regrouped and refound that angle. TP broken. No gate crash for you, but still Shin's in the back lines here. Flash re-peek of Martin seeking to do some damage and take some risks, potentially tear away a couple of these players because they are disadvantaged. And this is Sen looking all the way now, set up for that 12th
Martin check
round.
होगा.
It's going to have to be hero moments. It's going to have to be individuals putting up big performances. Another flash, it's perfection. It clears it out in the open. One player
Oh
left
my
to stand.
god.
Shin.
क्या कर रहे हैं भाई ये
It's
लोग?
just not possible, man. There's just absolutely no way he can hold on.
भाई शिन फिर सेव कर रहा है.
Sentinel's retake utility there was perfect.
Flawless
There is
retake कर रहा है
no
भाई.
other word
Flawless
to describe
retake.
it. They put pressure over towards ramp, grab a kill. They back off. They dog out through heaven. They had this kill trip to be able to set up at the start too. They then have another paranoia to layer on top of it. As they blast pack into elbow, that catches onto Martin. So many waves of things. And KC's post-plant aggression cannot find any timing. They can't disrupt it, can't stop it. The war train keeps on going. 6 rounds in a row have taken Sen from losing to map point.
Result भी नहीं.
This is it. Showing her hands a little bit early, forcing out the nade. Second, the timing through the wall. Paladin spots him, and the raid's finished. One and done. Drive by, going wide. Anger in position of Sassy. A safety in numbers, and numbers are
ओह सासी यही मैं कह रहा था. ये वाला सासी भाई ये करता है जो.
man's in a class of his own when he's really on fire. And once more, poor
Hey, let's go. First map secured, easy. अगला भी आएगा, अगला भी आएगा, अगला भी आएगा. अगला भी आएगा, टेंशन क्यों लेते हो?
What outrageous dominance in the second half. The first, full credit to KC. They came back into it and made a go of that.
They really did.
But when Sen got onto defense, there was no stopping them.
One of the scariest teams out there, of course. An absolutely electric first map, and even more to come.
ठीक है. अबे अब तक नहीं आया भाई. क्या चीज़ है?
Hey guys, it's Jimmy Lin. In this series, I'm going to walk you through attack on Pearl. Watch out for the stairs, clear this angle. You're going to be able to fight this.
Welcome back to Masters Madrid, and we saw that Sentinels really were able to get that first map. However, KC, they really they came prepared. They came like with guns a-blazing against Sentinels here, and I think that they were talking about how challenging this match was going to be because Sentinels probably didn't get as much rest, as much sleep. I don't think so. But before we dive fully into map number 1, we want to gauge the audience. Which team has their allegiance? So spam in chat right now, as in right now, guys. Sentinels or KC, and we'll get to your votes a little bit later. But as we said, Mimi, that match, I mean, there's so many rounds that just were probably masterpieces in what could
मजा आ रहा है आज का गेम भाई सेंटिनल्स यार
such incredible ideas of how their opponent wanted to play this one, but
मस्त
to me it was really defined by the protocols, and Sentinels showed why their defense split is so good. I think something like 7 rounds in a row to close that one out, Bea.
Yeah, exactly. The retakes were on point. The fact that they were reading off of each other, exactly what they showed back in Americas, but actually the fact that they're able to do it here, and also the KC is not prepared and somehow does not expect it, cannot think through that, is what surprised us, that they're still that comfortable doing it.
Yeah, and I wanted to take a look at a round from actually the first half that talks about just how good Sentinels protocols are, but also how good TenZ has looked on the Omen. So we're going to start this one off. The situation that we're in is we're in mid, and Sentinels have started off by
सब इस जगह पे गए हैं कि कौन सी जगह है ये
and, well, John QT has noticed a little something. No
सभी जा
Sentinel
रहे हैं
on the
यहाँ पे
KC composition. So instantly, you see him and TenZ trying to take this opportunity and find a gap to lurk into A. As we watch this one play out a little bit, that trade I already mentioned has just taken place, and now this lurk activates. John and TenZ find the perfect timing, because you see, the second that trade happens, KC has the same idea. Players are coming back ramp, they're re-clearing this space. But as we speed up a little bit, this low end, as you look at your map again, the players are being called back into A, actually making noise when they run through here, which means that KC has players ready to fight on ramp. But that's not the priority. Instead, it's all going to come down to this flank. I'll speed us through again, so we get to this flank being activated. That's a great kill by TenZ. But now here comes TenZ's mobility when he's playing on the Omen. Kaplan talks about why they put this guy in this role, because of the X factor. And we see it here. His first kill is from CT spawn, fighting out into heaven. The second is teleporting here, and if you just watch the mini-map as this plays out, he's gonna reposition towards main, throw a paranoia towards ramp, and as we look, Shin completely blinded, and TenZ is so quickly beating that timing, getting up towards heaven and killing him.
हेलो ओए हाँ वो भेज दियो 10 बजने वाले हैं वो जो था ब्लू ब्लू वाला कहाँ है कुछ भी हो भेज दियो मेरे को नहीं पता तो अभी है कहाँ पे गाड़ी में हाँ हाँ तो 10 तो तब तक बच जाएंगे ठीक है तब भेज दियो ठीक है बाय बाय
because even though Shin was a very good strongholder for the majority of their defense, giving us amazing rounds to watch, I don't think it's going to be enough, and definitely shows up how prepared Sentinels was for this split. As you said, all the weaknesses that were exploited time and time again, and those timeouts were simply brilliantly used by Sentinels. Every single time they had the response, even when Eng was putting something different on the table, I think the Zekken was just brilliant with his movement and with his interpretation of what the next movement was going to be for them.
Oh, look at that. We have 84% in favor of Sentinels. And I think that, that crowd also agrees. I mean, we were surprised that we actually heard the Sentinels chant over there. But of course, KC fans were jumping on there as well. So I think right now it could be anybody's game, even as we look at the fan reception, right? But right now, it is going to be time for the AIM Lab shoot-around. So let's check in on KC Shin right now. By the way, Shin had some amazing plays, and a big part of why Sentinels had such a hard time against KC was this player.
I think that there is a couple of things that made the match and the score seem closer than it was. First, that crazy second pistol round that we saw when KC just had this amazing good play using the Euro and the TP that they set up at the beginning of the round. And another one of those factors was Shin as a strongholder, as I was saying. Nemamura iconic duo, this guy and defending B.
Has he ever lost a 1v2 clutch on the B side of split?
I just want to go back to EMEA and watch that ace that we couldn't see, but he managed to defend time and time again, and it's so complicated. I think that also his utility coming from an Astra, when you don't have that Sentinel, there's a lot of responsibility that falls into your place.
Absolutely. Across that first map, both teams really had such a great read. I think they both had this idea of really forward committing to fighting in towards their opponent when they're in their post plants to stop these set retakes. And I really think that's what got KC in particular on that attacking side, right? When Second was going in, was disrupting these ideas, but it was the exact same thing from Sentinels. KC had that same idea, but they managed to shut that down. They did such a good job at playing up against that forward aggression and still managing to play these set retakes.
And not only that, they also managed to win, I believe, almost half or even more than half of their 4v5s. It's having the right read and the right response, and what the information that you gather, even when you're having one player down because of getting that information, the fact that they're so in sync into following onto the steps, into knowing everything that comes after, has to come into play also in Lotus. FPX showed some of the cracks that are already on that map the other day, and it was only because of that crazy performance that by Narrate that they managed to close that one out, because FPX, trust me, a 13-10 is not that much. And specifically, after seeing the retakes that we got from Sentinels and how we struggle on that on their attacking side, I'm worried.
We're going into Lotus right now, and here no sort of big surprises here on the Asian composition. But Mimi, I think that definitely we're gonna have our eyes on each and every one of these players right now, and of course the Tense Omen again.
In this first half, what I'm watching is Sentinels post-plant protocols. In their match against Heretics, what they did really well was in their post-plants, getting forward, playing into their opponent's smokes, playing little trap plays up towards heaven, disrupting those retakes. I think that's been the biggest focus for Sentinels coming into this event. It shut KC down on map 1. If they can do that again, they have a real chance to close out this series 2-0.
Yeah, exactly. And for K-Corp, we know how important for them is the aggression at the beginning of the round, how they're going to be fighting for A control time and time again, but I assume that Sentinels is going to be very ready for it.
Well, let's find out if this one makes it to a map number 3 and send it back to your casters. Here's Bran and Sideshow.
All hope isn't lost, really, if you are a Karmine Corp fan. Lotus is a map where they are highly specialized on. They have shown great success in the past on this one, but they are up against Sentinels, who, listen, there are no slouches on it either. It's the reason we were so excited about the map war heading into this one between both of these teams. We're seeing an interesting beginning. Already, it looks like it's gearing up for a lot of aggression out towards the middle of the map.
It looks like we've got a set pistol round coming out here, especially from KC. Anytime you see the Killjoy player on defense not buying utility and just going straight for the Sheriff,
Lotus though.
KC trying to take tempo right at the beginning of this round. Walking up with the paranoia prep, trying to take the fight to Sen.
Horns. No signs of life, John.
Oh, the timing there. If that had been a tad earlier, KC probably would have stayed to try to take the fight, but now they're anticipating that John's calling a reaction. And they've read it correctly. The desk was talking a lot about mobility, Brendan. I feel like that's going to be key on both of these attack sides. I think with mobility comes confidence. You have to be confident to be able to make that play. Trust the call, take the swing, and so far, that's been one big area where Sen are looking better.
It's been missing a little bit for Karmine Corp. Maybe a symptom of, as we've already mentioned, the new guard versus the old guard. Sentinels have got some experienced players. So do Karmine Corp, don't get me wrong. Magnum himself was shut down his hopes and dreams in the Reykjavik 2021 Grand Finals by TenZ himself. So now we see it, a bit of an explosion. The pivot here over towards B.
Oh,
sideline rate. Ooh, chunk load of damage. Has to back away and respect the nade now.
Planting हो गई है.
Spike planted.
There's no heals online as well. No chances there for him to get top back up. Contact call by Karmine Corp right behind them. That's 3 players looking to set their sights on the link. Distraction plays with the Prowler, peeking. Sassy is out wide. Probably too much in terms of the connection. Zakan taking the time here to reposition up towards heaven. What a call made. Still nearsighted, blinded up, but Narrate, he will fall. That prior damage. Oh, turn him out into the site. It's getting dangerous. It's getting dicey. A little bit all over the place here. Damage just wandering right into him. Zelsis definitely doing it.
Oh, bhai, rap.
Down a wide fence of Zelsis. There's no time left whatsoever.
Second Tariq ले गया.
Struggles here, the opening.
And And again, look at how mobile Sentinels are in these post-plant situations. They got into an uncomfortable spot, and immediately Zekken calls to push Heaven. 10 smokes it. It's a weird smoke, one that they can dominate, not your standard smoke. They get inside of it very quickly and set up the on split to be able to win the post plant and secure a pistol.
Hack हो गया भाई.
So neutralizing that early round aggression and playing a dynamic post plant that looked superb. You can only go for those plays if you're feeling really confident and very in sync with your teammates. I think that's been a clear difference today for SEN, and one to keep an eye on. I don't actually think that Martin can swing through this gap between the turret and the wall.
He can jump it.
Can he squeeze his little legs through?
Yeah, he's through, he's past it, but
And he's
Celsius
dead.
is watching, yeah. Very aware of it. Now the door opens wide, so this is SEN's protocol to clear through C. Oh my, okay, could have got dangerous. It's all good though, nade. Thomas out wide, take your pick.
अरे क्या क्या हो रहा है? जैसे ही कोई वो निकालता है टाइप ऐसे ही बंदा होता है. Total बच गई.
We're expecting this to be a pretty attack-sided map. Sentinels versus Heretics, that's exactly what we saw.
भाई
Got up to a really big lead. I think it was
अलग ही मैच चल रहा है. नहीं क्या हो रहा है?
SEN were able to bring it back.
अभिनव आ रहा है. कहाँ है अभिनव?
Been good in that situation. So it's not over for KC if they can't build something.
अबे अभिनव खेलेगा इस पे नियॉन.
It's going to be very difficult for morale.
ई दबा के बस भागेगा. सबसे बढ़िया खेलता है वो. कैसे चाप लेने भाग रहा है मुंडका के लिए. कह रहे घर पे चाप बनाने भाग के आ रहे यहाँ पे. ठीक है चॉप लेके जा रहे भाग के जा रहे नियॉन की तरह वो ई दबा के. यार ये नहीं समझ रहे. ओडिन पे आ गए ना. ओडिन पे आ जाते हैं सब फिर. Lotus. भाजपा. Lotus is भाजपा. अबे नहीं 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 नहीं.
Judge in the face second. It's a trade by every part of the definition. Prowler forwards jumping. Damage. The shot's going wide.
क्या हो रहा है भाई? क्या हो रहा है? ये कुछ भी हो रहा है मैच में. ओए अबे हमें वो भी देखना है प्लेग्राउंड भाई. याद रखियो प्लेग्राउंड भी देखना है हमको. Amazon मिनी टीवी डाल ले क्योंकि अरे हम दोनों पे ही नहीं है. छोड़ तेरे पे भी नहीं है मेरे पे नहीं होगा. एप्पल पे नहीं है ना मिनी टीवी. अबे ऑडिशन भी देखेंगे इस बार. हमने पिछली बार ऑडिशन ने अबे स्ट्रीम नहीं कर सकते. डिस्कॉर्ड पे करो. इस पे थोड़ी स्ट्रीम कर सकता हूँ. कॉपीराइट लग जाएगा. हाँ सीसी. ओए अबे वो भी मार. अरे 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 नहीं करके. अरे नहीं नहीं होता बैन. वो वीडियो हो जाएगी डल जाएगी बट फिर वो हट जाएगी. कॉपीराइट स्ट्राइक पड़ जाती है. कोई फायदा ही नहीं होता. इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूँ खुद ही पता नहीं है. बहुत बढ़िया ऑटोमेशन है बट खुद ही पकड़ा जाता है. हैकिंग मैं बता रहा हूँ ना. अबे ये कैसे है? करेंगे रिटेक नहीं करेंगे. शिन जिंदा होगा. कहेगा कि सेव कर लो. गेम टाइम है ये पूरा. अभी तक सेव ही कर रहा है. पिछले राउंड इससे 13-10 था. 5 राउंड सेव किया है. 5 होते हैं तो मतलब 13-15.
SEN, by the way, getting into their very standard post-plant setups where they have Zekken up top, so they often tuck somebody in towards the box. They have a one-way smoke as well. And you can see here, that really is the crucial duel when Sassy is able to get that pick onto Tomashi. Oh yeah, that's the real one that matters.
Mazzy.
I mean, the consistency with Zekken frying just builds up these ults like it's nothing.
अबे तू चल अगले साल में तो हो ही जाएगा गंजा। मैं भी तो फिर सासी की तरह बन जा, मैं बस ये बोलना चाहता था। मैं ज़्यादा जल्दी हो जाऊँगा रीसेंट उसके हिसाब से।
Ended up giving away his life a little too freely, and Zekken has started this map much as he started the other one, dominating.
Just rolling.
तो फिर वो तू सासी बन जा और ये सब खेला कर अब। गेको, फेड, स्काई। तो सो वाला मैप ही नहीं आ रहा, बंदा सो ही नहीं खेल पा रहा है। सो खेलता बहुत बढ़िया है बंदा।
These are the situations on defense where it's so difficult to get a read on where the attack team is going, especially if you have a really competent IGL like John Cudy. So this
ओए
is
लेक लाइन अप,
clear
लाइन
out
अप।
Shin if he was playing behind rubble or on top of it, but Shin is playing that jump spot angle a
इसने
little
करा कैसे
further
लाइन अप?
forwards. So he's not really going to get caught by this.
Might even get value. I mean,
He's in a very
really
exposed spot.
Really pressing forwards. Now has to respect it. I mean, he was just trying to get ahead of the wall, so they couldn't lurk out. But now backing away, a few stray shots.
And this is where KC start to lack information. 45 seconds. They know that Sen might be pressuring A, but are they really there? Is it a fake commitment?
Crossfire. Not even quite. I mean, Martin's just trying to play, weaving in and out of this wall, see if he can get that time with the door.
It looks like a fake. I mean, Martin's seen that there's nobody really pushing off the back of this.
Yeah, it's not really going to be calling as well for the rotations here. Paranoia forwards. Martin can't do the same moves as Zekken was doing, not in that last
साइड जाना पड़ेगा 20 सेकंड है।
out of it with the satchels.
Is this going to end B? Straight into Shin!
Shin! Could have been a difference maker, might still be. With only 12 seconds left, they've really just got to get a move on into the site B plant. Magnum forwards, pressing.
Nice.
All over the place. The time pressure maybe just getting to the
भाई
frantic for Carmine Core.
Those are the kind of confidence moments that I'm talking about, where it
अरे
feels like Sen are very strong in those kind of spots. You see Sen in a situation like that, they're taking the swing, they're taking the fight. Feels a little more tentative from KC, and they're getting caught out. A half clearance by Magnum. And it does look like that at the moment. You see Sen are fired up. They believe that they have had the most difficult run. I mean, their run through kickoff, through the play-ins, their run here, fighting against Heretics, then fighting against Carmine Core. Two big, heavy hitters coming out from EMEA.
You got to think as well. I mean, you got two of those teams in the EMEA. That's only EMEA and Americans who are winning the titles. Yep. Two of the potential strongest teams at this event. They've had to go up against early.
And Kaplan clearly not happy in the interview at the arrival, having to be last out, first in, and not having that prep time.
I saw my breakfast. I don't think it was.
He's come in here, and I feel like the whole team has just cleared.
I mean, they're fired up. There's a certain rage about it, the way that they're carrying themselves.
no way, no ये क्या हो रहा है ब्रो? अरे भाई तो फोन पता है मेरी, अरे तो 2 मिनट की बात करते हैं ब्रो। नहीं no way, bro.
So they need to be stacking up as many rounds as they possibly can.
मेरी फुटेज आ रही है यो। टंग 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 टंग
will still probably
यो। नहीं भाई क्या देख रहा हूँ मैं?
What is this cooking? Okay. Fast play, Paranoia.
But Sen don't bite. They don't go for an aggressive reaction somewhere else around the map. They're playing it slowly. So many players from Sentinels are close to these ults coming online as well. The lockdowns one away, the pit.
भाई मुझे सही में लगा स्टार्ट में गिर जाएगा। अबे तूने पकड़ा क्यों नहीं था पीछे से 2 सेकंड के लिए स्टार्ट के? पागल है क्या बे? गिर जाता यार, फिर दे देता ना।
The two players that were dominating the duels on split, Tens and Zekken, just continue. Anytime you see them in a duel, obviously here it's against the sheriff. But it just
इतनी मेरी नहीं फटी थी भाई जब मैं जनकपुरी से यहाँ तक गाड़ी लाया था पहली बार।
The way they're swinging it, you know they expect to win it too. It's been monstrous.
There's none of that that swinging into crouch spray, uncertainty with your aim, your own abilities. It's just decisiveness.
It's all been there.
But they expect to be winning every single fight. And look at it swarming the last two remnants here of Karmakor, 5-1. I know we've already mentioned, listen, it's an attack side of map. Everything points towards it so far. All the data, doesn't matter what changes they made on Lotus, it still points into that direction. There are still chances, as much as that feels right now like there's nothing really going for Karmakor.
ये तो मन करता है खेलने का. अरे भाई छोड़.
We don't know that, right? Sen didn't look like they put together too much defense on the last time that we saw them play Lotus, but their players were still good enough in the game against Heretics to give them rounds every now and then, which was more than you saw on the other side. They're a very dangerous team. Even if they're getting outplayed in the macro, even if the map doesn't lend itself to, one side or the other, they're still going to find those win conditions. And here, you have huge ults up for both teams. KC, eco swing round. They have to invest all of their ults to try to win this one.
Time to play close here because he's got the showstopper. There it is.
Beef on the movement?
Acknowledge, yeah, beef on the movement. Massive
Oh, ही हो गया. बेचारा वही नहीं कर पाया यार. ओए ओए ये भी इसने भी कर दिया. अबे ये क्या हो रहा है? अबे ये मत क्या? अबे एक टाइम नहीं हुआ. ये क्या हो रहा है?
And the C's came through afterwards as well.
A little bit unlucky towards the end there. I think that nade was meant to be tucked into the corner.
I mean, amazing reaction instantly from Sen to stop that from finding any value. And they neutralized the threat again, slowed the round down, denied information.
ज़्यादातर पता है वैंडल की जो लोग वैंडल चलाते हैं उनकी रिकॉन फैंटम और प्लूटो की सबसे ज़्यादा और चैंपियंस वैंडल जो 1 पॉइंट होती सबसे ज़्यादा ही चल. ओ तो
Time to shine, son. Time to step all the way up, and he certainly has done so. Still in control of Tree. Here's the pivot being called. Door broken, Horn forwards, rotations abound. Breaking it through now with the paranoia. Set that one up. Shin giving them this space.
पता था मेरे को केजल तो आएगी.
Goes towards it with 15 seconds to spare. Is there any attempt by Karmakor? Do they want to be aggressive into it? Looks like they're going to give them that space, and now planning for a retake of their own.
This pit could allow, John Cuty's going to commit pit here, and this can allow them to get back into the site and help them flood, stop the lockdown from really finding too much value.
We'll see. Even Tense as well, holding the TP as well, making sure they can get straight back into the fight. He's forwards, into the corner, barely expecting it, but it's
सब
almost
tense
rapidly on the approach. A counter pit, online, layers it forwards, and Karmakor have got the players, they've got the bodies, they just need to win, and they're going to get it. The round.
NT कोई नहीं, एक दो राउंड तो होते ही हैं.
Feels like it's been a bloody long time at that, but that second one is on the board for them. And they took a lot, don't get me wrong, a lot of ultimates had to be expended.
Yeah. Sen made it extremely expensive, and I think that's the silver lining to KC winning the round there if you're looking at it from the perspective of Sentinels. But a lot of ults being drained on both sides. This play, though, it just wins the round.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They're hoping that Tomashi is going to be passive in this situation, is going to respect the Nightfall, worried about being pushed from one angle. He holds his ground, steps up when his team needs him, and puts one on the board.
We'll see more of that.
Vamos!
Karmakor, come on. Satchel through for Zekken.
Bro, हो गया, plant हो गया, plant हो गया.
From Tenzi's just taken out.
Completely punished.
Bullet to the dome is all it takes, and yeah, that's the punishment of stick in that one. I suppose he thought it was the door.
Hagging होगी चालू.
Now falling.
Hagging चालू होगी.
Pivot, getting a move on out towards the seaside. Now it is entirely open. Util still going to be used to clear it. There was a seize and a nano swarm.
Smoke का है smoke.
Now the question is, what kind of post-plant aggression do we see here from Sen? I felt like on split, their post-plant aggression was timed well. They played together. A little more sloppy for KC. Here, we see John with a bit of a timing.
Bit of a timer, but he might just miss it here. There's a Nightfall as well. Boombot forwards, Nightfall. Now the sound cue is going to be missing from a few of these players. Elsis is in a one-and-done position. Blinded. Sanchez, Martin, barely grappling onto that one. A satchel.
एक doable है क्योंकि बाहर वाला plant है. Doable.
Backwards position, but smoked off. Immaculate stuff from.
ओए ये कौन सा smoke है?
Spray down here. Damage done, but the bullets flying through and true for Karmakor. Narrate, able to stick this hard.
Swing कर Zeku नहीं.
1v2, not sticking.
यार.
Played by Karmakor. We'll get the job done.
That's more like it. That's what you got to see from KC when they were playing in EMEA. Coordinated on the retake. I was worried just for a moment when they lost track of where the final player was and one went to check waterfall, the other mound. But they got the play there. The punish onto Tens. through a snakebite nanoswarm to stop the rest of the team coming in, isolate tens, get the swing and punish. Very nice from KC, and they follow up. 2 rounds back to back now puts KC in a much better position.
हाँ क्या हुआ?
The ults still
पापा हो गई
going
थी
in for
बात.
Sentinels after that
कह रहे आ रहे हो
huge
बस.
explosive round in round 7, where both teams utilized the entire war chest.
नहीं कह रहा था आ रहा 10-15 मिनट में.
Prowlers just handshake there. Section of B. Real aggressive map control over the Shin. He's getting close to Mount. Refreshing the one way. He's going to be able to TP out of dodge if there is any danger.
And you can see pings here though. They're getting ready to put pressure B and actually crush this C setup. Shin has got to be so worried about this.
That's why he's holding it. Paranoia, but still, it's going to be coming from multiple angles in the end. Does have the
Obe.
forwards. What a call!
That's
Martin
confident.
just swinging right through. Narrate follows it up, and listen, there's no one else watching for it. That was the danger there if he ended up losing that fight, but they don't. It's exactly right, Josh. What you were calling for, that confidence is back, and it's boundless right now for Carmen Court.
Opportunism, looking to take the timings, even if they're not playing together. KC find themselves in another 5v3, very similar to round 7.
Easy as it goes, forwards, past it, tens. Tethered to the floor, can't
Nice.
see Celsius just to watch his teammates back. He can be trusted with that at least, but will fall. Spike, dropped out in the open. 2v4, make it a 1v4. John. No chance whatsoever here.
इतना बड़ा लक करता गया जॉन. मैं ये सोच रहा हूँ कि अगर अभी 30 सेकंड बचे हैं ए पे तो वो आ नहीं सकते या टेंस के पास अल्ट होती एक किल का वेट कर रहा हो वो क्योंकि टेंस ने भी तो यूज करी थी तो ए पे क्यों था ये इतना बड़ा लक जाता ही नहीं 3 बंदे थे उनके वहाँ तो बहुत लेट ओवर एक्टिंग कर रहे हैं पता नहीं पहली बार जीत रहे ऐसे जीत रहे हैं ईएमईए वाले ऐसा लग रहा है तो जीत अभी जीते नहीं है बट स्टिल ब्लू ऑरेंज की ड्रॉप आ रही है अबे
I mean, this team is big brain enough that they might have set that up as a bit of a fake there, like, oh look, we're playing Mound, come and punish us.
क्या पूरा वही डालते हैं
And you were asking a question earlier, Bren, as we go into this Sentinels timeout. How many rounds does KC need on their defense side? Because this is generally an attack-sided map. And I think now that they've got 4, you're feeling relatively comfortable, even if Sen take all the rest.
At minimum.
A4 half, you can definitely come back from that on Lotus.
You can work with that.
You need things to go right for you, obviously. You need, you know, either a pistol or to start rolling with the rifle rounds to get the ults online.
अरे इसका फोन बंद हो गया नहीं नहीं
But there is actually reason to celebrate for the KC fans right now.
Not even watching a game. I mean, obviously there's not a game going on right now, but they're all facing away from the screens. I respect it, man.
They don't need to look.
They are the loudest ones in the building, and they are taking up probably 1/8, maybe that.
Yeah, the loudest per capita. But there's a lot of Sen fans here too.
There are.
Yeah, I mean, I like that the desk threw the KC versus Sentinels on the English broadcast, by the way. Just ruining the KC fans.
Yeah, what do you expect?
Oh, only 15% of you think KC is going to win. That's funny.
Do that Caminos chat, see what happens. See what happens. Telling you, probably 100%, but...
Zekken now...
Oh no, no, okay.
Does this mean we're getting into something a little more pacey?
It's got Proas, that double satchel plays, can really take the space quite rapidly. This time, again, a lot of players...
होने वाला डबल सैचल तुम देखो.
Behind Mound, looking to try and fight this one eager, in fact.
That one Prowler makes them think that it's going to be the split push again.
Open the door. They're trying to get proactive just in case to punish those players.
Yeah.
Nice idea as
आने वाला है डबल
Here
सैचल.
we go. Follow-up fight. Now he doesn't have a smoke for the one-way here. Paranoia is excellent.
डबल सैचल क्यों नहीं किया अब तक? ओह टेंस ने वैसे ही मार दिया डबल सैचल उतरती नहीं है. अब मारेगा. ओह डबल सैचल भी आ गया. अरे डबल सैचल भी नहीं हुआ. ओह इसको ओह टेंस भाई टेंस ओपी.
It's too much. It's immense. This man is a thing of nightmares.
The mobility, the confidence.
एक और खिलाएगा. अबे एस सिटी ला सिटी पे देख टेंस सिटी देख आराम से सिटी देख सिटी लेफ्ट में बैठा है नहीं लेफ्ट देख यहाँ नहीं है भाई कोई टेंस को बताओ टेंस भाई हेलो लेफ्ट में देख,
You saw that the counter paranoia
एस ले ले
there from
भाई,
Shin pushed back the
ऊपर
rest of
बैठा है
Sentinels.
छुप
Nobody
के।
else was able to get the punish in that kind of way.
अरे
But then when Tex
भाई
teleports
10
up
कैंप
top,
10 कैंप 10
he's
कैंप,
not been
अरे
caught by it. Everybody else is blind. It is shooting fish in a barrel.
oh no me tocó
And it
rapera.
is terrifying what Tenz's able to do on Omen. It's fit him like a glove, this new role.
Oh yeah. That's how you know he's different from 20. He was just the Adrian play man, but he didn't play for the clip. That was Shin. Very true. Keep the rifle going.
Now in that round there was still a little bit of danger, right? I mean Shin got the pick onto Tenz. If Narrate had been able to
एस चाहिए था यार, एस चाहिए था चाहिए था चाहिए था।
If Narrate had been able to punish Tenz, maybe KC could have come out with something.
2 more rounds. Cacophony is building here in the Madrid arena.
oh no me toqué no
A SEN
no
fight for rubble control, something they've not been doing very much of. Zelsis quite far away. His lockdown could be a large entry piece of utility, but they could also save it for post, as Zekken now had Showstopper online too. Narrate with a swing.
See what they end up using. Bots?
Now, that is going to tell Zekken as a player that... Decided not to use the ult though, just taking space on site.
There's a chance of it. Everyone setting up from Carmen Core side. Backwards, spots ahead, vulnerable.
You should run.
Look how nicely though they've saved all of this utility for the post plant here. Sure, the spike isn't down just yet.
catching अरे catching
The
you
fact that KC are going to be playing retake because of the ults, and the threat is more dangerous than the action.
Fine time off the clock. Second, here's it. Footsteps. Satchel. Oh, no way, Magnum. Nasty shot, nasty business. Here, 10 will fall.
Perfect.
Magnum through the back now, and the side control gained here, close to the corner.
ये क्या हो रहा है?
Instantaneous with the trade sticking now. Tom is he onto it.
अरे मर गया,
Destroyed.
अरे मर गया,
The smoke. 2 players caught. Surely that's
अरे अरे भाई क्या जगह है वो?
Magnum, but it's just him. 1v1. Him versus Zelsis. Sticking. Have on it all the way through the defuse.
Celsius.
Little bit of danger.
Oh no,
again,
Meta
KC
Poya.
started to get that retake working. Really lovely the follow up on the paranoia and Martin's entry through, but Sen stay solid. So many of these post plants are set up with 2 layers from Sentinels. A few players playing further forward to
Bhai.
all of that utility, and then a few players further back playing the spam game.
शाइन नहीं कर रहा कोई केसी में से,
When it's planted over towards C, you have Tens in a more advanced
क्योंकि
position on top of the box.
ये
A few players
ओवर
going down towards Mount.
आउटशाइन कर रहे हैं उनको।
It works all across their map pool, and we're straight back into things. No early fight over towards Rubble though. KC dominate that area early on, open the door, and that is going to tell John right.
oh no me topoya con no pino.
There's no signs of life from Martin, so you might think it's only 2.
जब तक यहाँ तक बस स्मोक दिया,
Perhaps to call that pivot
अब स्मोक कौन करेगा?
on either side. You can see it, the territory being slowly gained.
Sassy taps the orb. Once the rest of his team's got ready, that's Nightfall online.
There it is.
देख रहा हूँ।
Through the Nightfall. Prowlers. Reaching the targets. A few of them are broken in time here. Now potential for the retake. Still that danger with the showstopper in the back pocket. No way.
That's just spam.
Narrate finding it onto Tens. Beautiful first kill for them, and this is going from bad to worse really for Sentinels here. They still can't get a safe plant down. Util flying through along with the rocket. Martin. Unfortunate really not to get that one. Satchel through into the back, pushing his teammates right into forward.
अरे bro, no way.
Colliding.
3 बंदे फालतू के मर गए।
John QT's got so much to deal with.
अरे
But everyone's still blanked it out. And so a 7-5 half. Carmen Core, a sneaking suspicion that they're going to be happy with it.
Very happy. That's an extremely solid defense side, powered by those retakes. I mean, don't let the
Don't count sentinels out. Okay. तुम समझ रहे हो मैं क्या कह रहा हूँ? Don't count sentinels out.
Signs of life from Carmen Core. Really excellent stuff on their retakes all around here. Still a steady lead for Sentinels. A steady lead, I should say. Let's send it down to the floor with an interview with some special guests.
On the floor, and I'm joined by Mama Zekken and Mama Tens. Give it up for the parents. Los madres. Mama Zekin, we saw you in Americas cheering on your son. Now you're here in Madrid cheering on your son. How does it feel to be able to travel the world and support your son as he pursues his dream?
I feel like I'm the happiest mom in the world. Woo!
Amen to that, sister. I love that. And Mama Tens, I found out this is the first time that you've ever watched your son play on stage. How has the experience been? All the fans here in this building.
It's been
Oh no, मैं top होया कौन हो
it's a
बहनों?
dream come true. I met so many amazing fans of his. I'm gonna cry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Guys, give it up. Give it up. It's a beautiful thing for sure. And even enjoying Madrid.
Yes, it's beautiful here. First time to Europe.
First time to Europe. First time to Europe, everybody. Wow. All right.
भाई सेन वालों को चेंज मिलती है.
How's the Madrid experience been for you as well?
Mi amor en Madrid.
I mean, she's the best hype man in the biz right here, baby. Let's just send it back to the cast. Let's get this party
इसको कैसे आता है? मेरे को भी आती है. ये ना पौन लगे तो मैं दे रे.
That is one hell of a way to get the crowd on your side.
Do we need to pick her up for the broadcast?
Yeah, a bit of crowd work.
Yeah.
Oh my,
Keep Golden Boy off. I want to see grand finals. Mama Zekin out there hyping up the crowd because I mean I'm loving the hype though because this match is.
ओए oily skin है, 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 नाक पे oil है, oil है, oily skin है.
Close in the first half and then they pulled away. And I think KC may have done enough here to feel confident going into the second half of Lotus. Doesn't mean they're going to win. Doesn't mean they're even favored. But when you look at what's on the board, 5 rounds on defense, normally KC very good on attack. You've got to be feeling good.
ओ बड़म हो जाता अभी बड़म. Tens bro. क्या कर रहे हैं? क्या हो रहा है? ओबे ये क्या हुआ? वो सही में घुस गया उसके मुंह पे. Oh no, mono के ना बना पे. डबल स्विंग आएगा. 3 2 1 टुप. यार ये क्या कूदते क्यों हैं? ये ट्राई हार्ड वाला कर रहे हैं यार, कूदने वाला.
Really nice. All of that fundamental prowess that we saw from KC being demonstrated here. Certainly warming up into the tournament. Starting to showcase the strengths of what made them a team to be feared. This pistol round was a great call coming out from Magnum. As long as they can secure things.
चलो मैं खा के आता हूँ. ऐसी क्या होता? तुम देखो तब तक.
Really good about their chances. Doesn't have the tools for it. I mean, a lot of players, we narrate, chooses to put an end to it. So pistol round should, you know, as long as things go correctly, end up being that 7-7 equalization.
Yeah, and that's Magnum that actually gets the kill there. But there's so many little set plays that we saw from KC when they were playing in EMEA, things like that. Doubling up and setting up, you know, maybe a high-low setup or a jump peek, and the second player swings in. Now we see Magnum picking up the Outlaw, actually. Nobody on SEN buying armor, of course. Not going for that force buy.
Few pieces of util.
And how many times have we seen this in the series? No real possibility for the team that lost the pistol to do anything because both teams just kind of rotate around each other. I feel like every time a team's won the pistol, we've seen this in this series so far. Dodging that variance.
Roaming around the map like a pack of wild animals. Free sight for Carmen Court. Plan of a mound control.
Yeah, and a great plan. And now, once you get the plan down this easily, you have the mental bandwidth to start thinking about how do we optimize our ults. Right, so do we want to try to load them into narrate because he's already halfway? Do we want to try to prioritize Martin, perhaps? These kind of things you can really start to ponder. But there is still pressure here onto Tomashi.
In fact, SEN are committing utility into this. Things they really did purchase and buy. They've squeezed the players out towards mound. Time ticking away, running short. Free clearance, called by Carmen Core. So right through the back there, and Sentinels realise that there's really no chance of this. They're making another call now, moving their way forwards.
And I think just looking to try to die to Spike here. But Sassy is going to take a little bit of a time in.
Plays a caught out in the open. They're going to be able to die to the spike. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, really successful there, to be honest, from Sentinels. Not allowing KC to get close to any of the large ultimates. And that's very important. Lotus, I think, more than any map in the pool right now, is so ult cycle dependent. Especially when with it being attack-sided and both orbs being accessible to the attackers too. It's a mixed bag of a buy though for KC. They've come into this bonus with some unusual weaponry. I'm interested to see if Magnum can get anything done with his Outlaw. He's the sole player holding back the A push, and SEN have committed 4 players to dominating that fight.
Yeah. 4 players with light armor too. Lots.
Yeah, that's a great point. Great point. 4 players that would die in 1 shot to Magnum.
Extra danger. So you can see the decision making being used here by Karmine Corp. This smoke setup as well just allows them to hide, play not quite an anti-flash position, but at least hiding from the initial haunt. If there is a call from Sentinels to refight when the orb is tapped. Loading up the ult orbs onto Narrate, making sure that Nightfall gets online.
You can see the pings over towards Rubble, pointing out the 3 main positions that somebody like TenZ would be playing if they got him posted up in an aggressive spot. So they're going to go through the motions there, making sure that they clear all of these angles. There is nobody home whatsoever on A.
It's a weird one, look at this. I mean, back and forth as the call's going for Karmine Corp. Looks like there's a lot of uncertainty.
I mean, SEN are basically just playing rotate through spawn right now. They're not trying to, you know, anticipate this so much as just
30 seconds.
rotate.
No way. Don't know what gave that one away. Still, it's a kill. All Sentinels, first kill going their way.
They've anticipated this pivot.
Up. Yep, they're looking for it and expecting it. Out towards B, smoke still, up into heaven. What's the call going to be here? With only 15 seconds left, the chance really to try and fight them aggressively. Haunt, broken, Boombot now, 11 seconds plan. Finally going down, but what is the fight? Yeah, right through. Sees, no connection. Second! Oh! The hopes and dreams torn away in this round. Shin, wrapped and caught. Cheeky flank timing.
Destroyed.
Not getting away with that.
That was a really bizarre round though. SEN were rotating through spawn, off noise cues, off reads, and just trying to stack the correct position where KC would end. They're not worried about leaving holes because they're just trying to be hypermobile around the map. That can really bite you. If you're planning to play defense like that, sometimes if the attacking team just cuts noise, you're just running around having no idea where things are going to end. But the reads there from SEN were perfect. They got the right call on what KC were going every time.
Let's go, boys. Good job.
No damage on that bonus.
Yep, really good job, boys.
No damage, but a healthy buy on either side. Vibes Merchant making sure everything is in order. You go, TP forwards, dash it across here, sees nade, everything being combined. Shin surely goes down. He gets a kill on second.
How's that happened?
How has he managed that?
He was caught dead to rights inside the C's nade.
To almost single digits, evacuation called. TenZ backs away. So listen, call up the cartographer. Power lines being redrawn, but giving up space entirely of Rubble, not even posting a player up deep onto A. Karmine Corp giving it up.
Certainly very willing to rotate around the map themselves on the attack side. And SEN now a bit frozen in place, expecting this to be an A re-hit. Even when Sassy doesn't really spot anything over towards Rubble. Zelsis has all the utility here, but he is just one man.
He's caught here still with the Odin. It's a very big gun and a lot of targets to really choose. And beam down, spotted. Beaming, he does! But the mollies into the back, he had no clue about it. Snake bite. Everything being utilized on top of it. Ruins his day there, but still getting to the position he was in. Pretty miraculous. He's made it an even job for Sentinels on this retake. 4 position of Magnum. He's hoping for an easy kill, maybe even a cheap one. One-way smoke, has to force out that paranoia early, so Magnum, he's done his job. Pulling out that util early, now backs away with the rest of his team so he can play side by side, shoulder to shoulder. Sentinels versus Karmine Corp comes down to the fundamentals, comes down to the aim, the battle being won! The Sentinels in charge of it all!
A 3v3 post plant where KC, in theory, could have planted anywhere, could have positioned anywhere, and SEN still got the site so easily. Bundling up the KC post planters into a tiny corner and landing that snakebite onto them after TenZ TP'd in behind the orb. This, amazing. that Zelsis gets 2 out of that situation, but it basically just equalised part of the luck with Shin, I think, getting away with it at the start of the round. Yeah. But it's that snake-bite combo there with Tens being able to swing on top of it. It just looks really claustrophobic from KC in the post plant. They kind of gave Sen too much space there to do whatever they wanted. But that is 2 huge rounds in a row from Sen. One to make sure that they didn't take any damage from the bonus round, and the other to knock the economy of KC. If we're talking about Lotus being attack side, being momentum based, well, Sen have just stolen all of the wind out of KC's sails.
Essentially back-to-back gun rounds being won from the retake protocols. Not just that, I mean, they've earned themselves up to some pretty serious ults. Utility and kit looking nice and clean for Sen. They've got a showstopper. Zeken's not having a world-class game, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's sitting at 9 and 12, but he's doing his job and he's doing it well.
Yeah, I feel like though Tens has been that guy.
Oh yeah.
From map 1 to map 2, Tens' performance has been amazing. When they need him to get aggressive, like for example in that retake, John Cutie survives on the other side of the map. There's a Viper orb up in the middle of sight. They pop it up. That allows Tens to only focus on one angle, teleports forward, takes the one fight. Again, fighting off the back of John's utility. Bada bing, bada boom. He can do it all. You need an Omen entry? Call me up. That's Tens, man. He's looking awesome. He really is.
Fight over C early. Again, same smoke, but it is that weaker bio Carmine Core.
And you either need a really good set play to be able to push this one across the line, or you're looking to try and, do damage to the economy and draw out ultimates. Certainly B is the best site to fight with these more close-range weapons, like Magnum's Stinger and Martine's Judge. They haven't cleared Martine.
Oh, way! Tens! Adjustment of a lifetime. Snappy and precise. A bit later towards the end, but I'll get the job done there. 10-7.
I mean, that was wild. Martine was just stuck in the corner with a Judge there, but he got blinded up, and I don't think he realized that people were pushing through the door on him. Yeah. He probably had a couple freebies, but great adjustment from the Phantom Tens. They completely neutralized that round. This very reminiscent, actually, of one of the earlier rounds that we saw from KC, where Martine and Narrate pushed out through B, trying to find that timing. And here, Sentinels on defense, being proactive, clearing out that area in the mid-round and catching KC before they could set up.
Carmine Core aiming to win that fight out, but they don't actually have anything planned for the Haunt. Potential mistake there. Lots of pings to a variety of players. Carmine Core though.
Hey Varun bro, camera ही बंद है.
It's going to scatter.
यहीं पे हूँ मैं, यहीं पे हूँ. खा रहा हूँ. Camera ने रख दिया.
Players potentially are with the alarm bot being broken. Sees into the back of the site. They really don't have a clue. Zelsis spraying away and praying. Just hoping that the reinforcements arrive, but he backs himself into a deeper position, tucked to the back, still danger, vulnerable, no
बच गया.
in hell, second showstopper, but there's players right behind
Left me.
Shut down, close to the corner, is shittily surviving, keeping his team alive in this round. It could go in any direction.
And Narrate is still struggling to get the plant down.
Some of these fights, the way it goes, I mean, flip a corner.
Shin एक kill के लिए सोच रहे क्या?
Up onto the ropes, that's Shin.
शाशन एक kill दिख रहा ताकि hold कर सके.
Expected.
No, close.
Expected, they do not, John. Brought down. Angles watched. Forwards now. Sassy keen to take the fight, keen to trade it out. Through the box though. Couple of straight bullets and Sassy's dropped down. Everybody watching, and eventually the adjustments are there.
खा के आता.
Well, that one was dangerous for Carmine Core, but they come out on top. Magnum's position in pit ended up being so important. But there were moments all throughout that round where things could have flipped in either direction. So much of it coming down to timings that they find on one another. This, for example, not even a half clear from Zeken in that corner. Too many positions to try to guess at. Great aim from Magnum there. Big readjustment. Pulls KC back within 2. And they can start here to work some of their ults and start to build a bit of an economic cushion.
Bit of win con. One away, Martine builds it up. Has the rocket. Prowler, Boombot. Nice wave of util to dissuade it with the Nano Swarms, both of them being deaded, and Celsius putting the Odin to good work. Look at that, spraying through into the angle. Timing. Both double swinging through, but they're vulnerable now. The nade goes flying forwards. Connection! Celsius couldn't withstand it. With the lockdown as well, you have to respect it. Sassy's overstaying as well, praying that somebody would open himself up into that sight line.
The plan for Mound this time, instead of the more claustrophobic one on site, allows KC to play 2 layers of this, and they still have Martin's Showstopper to work with.
Surely they win it. Well, looks incredibly favoured. At least with the ults. Haunt. What's the back? Sentinels are already in. Showstopper, no one to break it. Couldn't let loose with the Prowler, the fuse burning away. Have into it, it's a gamble. John QT, he finds it, still 4 versus 4. What other util did he really have? They've got to play it side by side. Time working against them. Paranoia, Tens went in for the timing, flips the switch, and now moves forward. But so do Common Core. So do Common Core in complete control of the front section of the site, and a decision is made for him. John QT hightailing it out of there.
Well played by KC. Adapting to what Tens was trying to go for. Sentinels, you could see, were expecting KC to have already fallen back to Mound. They thought that they had the site roughly for free as soon as Martin got picked off after using his Showstopper. That was not the case. Both teams really messing with expectations. And it's Celsius, a headshot through the wall there that actually sets up the nade kill. A little unfortunate. But both of these teams are looking sharp. Mind games on mind games in these retake post-plant situations. But Celsius once more has been left alone over towards C, and KC, like 5 hungry wolves staring towards a snack on the C site.
Just that, I mean, vacuuming up these orbs. Granted, and given the C Mound area basically every single time. There's no plan in action for Sentinels. They did manage to take rubble over towards 8, so they've got 10s posted.
And we haven't actually seen Tens in this position before. We know that KC have got protocols to clear this out. We just haven't seen the fight actually occur. Now, do they believe that Tens is not on top of rubble because they've seen Zeka?
They're not going to use a volley to clear it. One way.
They do not like what they've seen.
No.
They're happy to return back over to Magnum. He knows that there hasn't been any re-aggression on C.
See, Magnum did not give that one up already. Through forwards. Well, John QT, it's an unorthodox one, just playing closer to pillar here. Now sets down a Viper's Pit. This is a difficult one. Carmen Court, what chances do they have? What is the call to be made out forwards in front of it? Lucky to be alive. Still smokes on smokes. Who knows which direction this one's going to go into with a Nightfall now. They don't know anything. Adjusting Magnum! That is disgusting! But Tens, he's forwards and through, eventually removing that pesky problem that is the IGL. 2 players, forwards to the right, has fallen. Shen, last alive! John QT, miraculous with the movement.
And Sen somehow get that one through, despite the fact that Magnum was able to pick off 3.
Way.
It looked great for Sen though. That opening kill from John QD to be able to get his pit online. I'm amazed, frankly, that KC even got the spike down, because there was so much pressure coming through there. Pit used, Nightfall used as well. That is excellent awareness. They've often been using Tomaji's smoke to be able to get into the C site, and John QD just reads that for the first kill. And a little whiffy towards the end from Narrate and Shin. Otherwise, Magnum had given them an opportunity. Devastation for Zeish. So 2 rounds ahead again. Maintaining the lead are Sentinels.
Minutia making the difference in so many of these moments. Acro game being called from either of these sides. It's a good one. Both the IGLs going to be working overtime to try and get that edge.
Into C again.
Celsius. Really deep off angle. There was a chance he could have been punished, but safety for now at least. But the snakebite fades. And here's the things. Prowler, Satchels, up above, doesn't expect it. Stinger, exactly where it's favored. Close quarter combat. They don't have to sight just yet. They know what John QT is. John needs some help. John needs some help here. Swinging wide. Sassy will be punished for it. Casualty. Line of fire and a line of action here. It is a bit futile is what it feels like. Carmen Core only just getting ground underneath them. Plant, Paranoia, that forces it out, and a satchel forward, smoke fading away. Martin! Oh, he's on one right now, on for the ace. One more. We'll do it. John QT.
Spotted.
1v3. Spotted and shut down.
That's a wild situation. I mean, Sentinels realize that Tomashi is one away from being able to get his pit online, so they can't just allow him to go for the plant. They're forced to go aggressive. This entry, excellent from Martin, and wasn't really expected in this spot. But yet, they're forced to go for this level of aggression and run into Martin's Odin here because they need to deny the plant, otherwise they're going to be retaking into a pit. Unfortunately, they lose the round anyway, and now Tomashi has pit up for the next, and Sentinel's economy is getting stretched. I mean, look at this. 10 is at the top of the scoreboard, and my man's about to come into this round with a Sheriff.
Sheriff and half armor, Guardians, I mean, a few rifles, don't get me wrong, but yeah, it's...
I'm gonna need someone to drop him a gun.
At least.
I mean, I know that he can get work done with the Sheriff, but you want to put your players that are in the aggressive positions in the best position possible. And here we see Sentinel's coaching staff taking the time out, because this is crunch time. They have a chance here of being able to close out the series against the #1 seed from EMEA. Book their spot into playoffs, set themselves up, potentially as tournament favorites, if they make it through Heretics and KC playing like this. Other teams will certainly be having words about that. But there would be little to doubt if they could close things out here.
Most people ahead of this tournament, Carmen Core Sentinels penned in as most likely finalists, really. The two teams that look the strongest coming into this event.
Been a banger of a game so far.
Yeah, so back and forth.
But I think you kind of have to favor KC's chances of being able to pull this round across the line. Now, C's fade combo, C's nade combo, very possible here.
Not using it. Hondo, again, have to deal with that one. Not sure what that lineup is, but
it's a different lineup actually. Sassy was throwing it previously from B, now throwing it from A. Still not getting broken.
Sen perfectly happy to follow that trail of noise. They've stacked it with a lot of their players. Prowler forwards, Martin satcheled in to clear that space and take up control of tree. With them breaking the Prowler, really does feel like an A hit, and it might still be so. Sees nade. Wrong timing taken for it. Guess what? They want to go forwards. Second. That's a snakebite that takes him down.
There's so many layers to that.
It really is. First wave of util, second with the Paranoia, and with the satchel. That has really put Sentinels in the driving seat.
But Magnum broke the alarm bot on B. No response from anybody there, so he's calling to narrate that B may be clear. Is Tomashi going to try to fake this with a pit or something? What a KC cooking. They had a free B site to go for, and they're still going A.
Coming in, Ten just walks forwards for the information. He's brought down 3 versus 3 still. 2 players at the back of the site. What is it called? Double face! And straight through and down. Equal parts on either side here. 1 left standing, it's Narrate. And a 1v3 to avoid his team being put on map point, on series point.
He's worried about Zelsis, but Zelsis is still tethered to his turret. 15 seconds less, 10. Just no chance, surely.
Anything taps it, hoping that a few of these players will be out wide and open!
Unbelievable!
This time!
Unbelievable!
Milliseconds available!
Zelsis is miles away. The Nightfall going to confirm that he's not playing towards Rubble.
Narrate, 9 bullets! Ridiculous!
That is one of the most important clutches that we've seen in the tournament so far. Narrate somehow saving his team. How does he line this one up? Unreal.
Get out of here. I mean, what was that? 0.3 on the timer or what? I don't even know.
Everything stacked against him.
No way. I mean, barely contained it. It's just like, okay, I'll be the stoic one.
Somehow, Eng expects that, apparently.
Yeah, not shocked.
None of us did.
God damn.
Magnum is buying an outlaw here to get his team up to map point, knowing that Sentinels are on an eco.
What's the save?
And the ults are all in favor of KC, really. There are still ults over on the side of Sen too. Do they choose to use them?
They're hard stacking. There's 5 players. I don't know what gives this read away. It just seems to be a gamble. Zelsis forwards.
Tens is set up for a paranoia. Are they going to try to clear this?
Yes, they're going to be trying to fight this one. Paranoia, forwards, Haunt, broken, tags it, in the smoke, forward, Sancho's backwards, a boundless second, he let the rocket loose, and Sentinels, no way! From the jaws of defeat, they're trying to take it back. Magnum has taken so much damage in the mix of things, 3 HP, Spike, retrieved, backing away, not quite, it's dropped down, and Sentinels, out of nowhere! You're joking!
That is utterly ridiculous. The 5-player gamble stack just at the perfect time. And not just that, but finding the play of the Haunt being broken. I mean, look at the way the Martin is playing that. They find the exact moment that KC were about to commit. All of them with utility in their hands, ready to exec. And Sen, the aggression pays off big time. They could not have found a bigger moment to slam the pressure back into KC. We're into this, the final round of regulation. It's already here. Shambolic buy for KC.
It's bottom of the barrel. It's all they're working with. It's desperation. Individuals need to step up to even stand a chance of staying in this series.
Emotional roller coaster doesn't even begin for the players there on stage. You go from elation to devastation.
Backing away from Tens there, Prowler connected. Gives them that space freely. Carmen Cordo, Spike in a different direction. Now Shin does have his ult. There's a chance he can pivot.
Martin has the showstopper, but he took 124 at the beginning of the round. He took a long-range phantom headshot.
Fake. Lockdown being used here to just try and make it feel like this. I mean, it's a good call. Sentinel's been playing super reactive off of the time cues, but the lockdown's broken just from the minor amount of util. Now the showstopper. Forwards Martin. He'll go down to the turret. He'll go down to the turret. He has to send it flying. Poor Timmy. Lockdown. Drop down. 30 seconds. Spike can't be planted. That's desperation. It's frantic in nature, but eventually going to be sticking it. Shin backing away. Pit will stay up, and this retake is happening at a blistering pace. Forwards. Zelsis dominating the angles. One tap to force out the util, but this could be it. All on the line for Carmen Core. And the calls are being made here. Fighting up close, fighting forwards. All tucked away, Zelsis! The hopes and dreams ripped to pieces. Shin, desperate for it, Tens forwards. And it can't come down to anything. Domazy, no chance. Sentinels have done it. The #1 seed taken out. Sen City here to play.
Well, despite it being a 2-0, this match delivered. Those final moments are just bonkers. Sen being able to take this map with a 5-player gamble stack over towards C that takes the win. It looked poised, it looked ready. It looked like it was going to bind. But the final map denied us. As Sen denies KC their spot in playoffs for now. This team still with options of being able to make it through our Swiss stage. But the path for them continues. #1 seed of Americas. Taking out the win against the winners of EMEA kickoff. And what a game it was.
Oh yeah.
Sen, definitely the better team there on Split, but a hair's breadth between them on Lotus.
I mean, the smallest of differences. I was convinced we were going to be seeing bind. I was convinced it looked like it was preordained, man. But it's Sentinels moving forwards in the playoffs. They'll be happy for it, I'm telling you. Kaplan and Drew been gaining grey hairs at a rapid pace. They haven't had a break, man. They haven't had a break, but finally, a bit of peace and quiet, time to prepare. Sentinels are first team in the playoffs.
And you've got to be thinking, they're looking like one of the favorites to be able to take the entire thing.
Yeah.
Because chewing through, and listen, they had some close maps, some close games, but chewing through both of those EMEA teams who are looking so hot in their regional matches, Sen are looking excellent here. And with all of that time to be able to prep, certainly they're going to be looking at all of the other teams, seeing like who looks dangerous as they head forwards to playoffs.
Potentially even more dangerous as well. I mean, of course, can't count out Carmine Core. They're not out of the tournament just yet. It's the Swiss stage. Listen, they're going to get that chance of redemption, that chance of playoffs.
But against
still.
who?
Against who?
Against who?
I mean, there's too many unknowns, man. There's too many unknowns and too many other good teams. I mean, we're barely any way into this tournament, and we're just seeing such a high quality of play. It's just insane. It's insanity.
It really is. It's also just incredible individual ability being brought to the big stage by these SEN players. They've worked so hard to increase that fundamental stuff. The retakes, the discipline, the coordination between the team, the IGLing that John Cudy's brought in. But throughout it all, the backbone that's standing them games here against teams like Heretics and KC, who are no slouches individually. One of the big things that's powering through are those individual performances coming out from players like Tens. You know, Zekken on map 1 as well was just unbelievable. And John up towards the top of the scoreboard here for the second map too, whilst also calling an amazing game too.
Yeah, the battle of the IGLs was something to behold, honestly, as well. Those macro calls, I mean, just the gamble in that second to last round.
How'd they get the read?
Making a difference.
How'd they get the read?
You're joking.
It couldn't have been better. The timing too. The timing on the horn, the break, the paranoia, the run into the smoke. I mean, these are what dreams are made of for Sentinels, but also KC, that is going to be going through your head over and over. Very difficult, actually, to get those kind of moments away from you.
Yeah, I'm taking a gander, trying to see if the interview's ready right now. Will be, I hope so.
Yeah.
At some point, and yes, it is. I've got the cue. Go, straight to the interview.
What's up, everybody? Let's give it up for Sentinels one more time! Yes! I'm here joined by QT, and we're going to have a little bit of we want to hear the feelings after this matchup. Estoy aquí con John QT. Vamos a hacerle unas cuantas preguntas sobre este partido. First of all, after failing to win Ascension, getting back to with your coach, getting here, making it to the big stage. Now you're on to playoffs. I assuming that you're feeling amazing and crazy, but how different is actually IGLing and preparing for Americas compared to this?
It's not much different. We just have our process that we follow. We just trust our protocols. We're approaching the games the same as we approach them in Americas, pretty much. Just making sure we understand how the other teams play and how we want to play, and just trust ourselves, pretty much.
Le he preguntado sobre, obviamente, se tiene que estar sintiendo encima de una nube por toda la trayectoria que ha tenido y estar ahora aquí, ser además el primer equipo que se clasifica a los playoffs. Le he preguntado cómo es de diferente prepararse para América que prepararse para aquí. Y dicen que básicamente hay que confiar en sus protocolos, en lo que tienen preparado y que la diferencia realmente es mínima. Okay, you say that the difference is not really there, right? But coming into today's matchup, knowing that you barely had any time to rest, how was the preparation, if there was any, especially, you know, with the maps and everything that we saw?
The preparation wasn't that long, to be honest, because we had no time. We just made sure to trust ourselves, discuss the veto, and the coaches watched the games. I also watched the game, and we pretty much just predicted the veto. I watched their Lotusens play. I was very aware of how they played, and they didn't change much, so it wasn't that hard.
What was the hardest thing to adapt within the game for you?
The hardest thing was just to make sure we're not nervous. I think yesterday we definitely played bad and we still won, but we were very shaky, making stupid mistakes, stuff that we're not used to do. So I just made sure that everyone stayed comfortable and played well.
Le he preguntado que también cómo se ha preparado con tan poco tiempo, ¿no? Después de que ayer fueran el último partido y hoy el primero. Dice que tampoco ha habido mucha diferencia entre lo que Carmine Corp ha hecho en días anteriores y lo que han hecho hoy. Con lo que más dificultad han tenido, sí que ha dicho que es con mantener las energías y no cometer los mismos errores pequeños que cometieron en el día de ayer. Well, thank you very much, John QT. Let's hear it one more time for Sentinels as they make it to playoffs. Nos vamos a ir a un cortito descanso, pero no os preocupéis porque tenemos más partidos. Don't go anywhere. We have another matchup coming up next. Gen G versus EDG.
gives you wings.
Welcome back to day 3 of Masters Madrid. It is time for our second match of the day. China's #1 seed Edward Gaming versus Pacific's #1 seed Gen G. I'm Mika Fabs, back on the desk once again with Mimi and Kakuka. I hope you ladies are ready for another banger match today.
I was hoping for more from that first one, honestly.
I know. We wanted a map 3.
But this series is going to be so exciting as well. I feel like it's been a long time coming for the best of these two regions in kind of their new form, with Gen G taking over that crown in Pacific to have a match.
Yeah, exactly. And especially after EDG getting the final win against PaperX, I feel like everything is coming to fruition. Sometimes when we talk about the placements from the teams coming into the tournament, I think that both these teams really deserve that top 1. Gen G proved it the other day, and so did EDG.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of big surprises that happened the other day, and that's how these teams came to this point, right? But there was also a lot of trash talk about this match, and I just love it. Here's what Munchkin had to say about this match. Are you ready, Kang Kang?
Not like full trash, like recycling talk maybe, but both these players.
A little light.
That's a saying now, Bea, and you can't stop that.
Yeah, I won't stop you. I'm never. From the beginning of LCQs, many Japanese fans call me the god of operator, but now I want them to know I'm the god of duelist.
Every Kang Kang quote is so hard.
It's so like, metal.
I mean,
it's
they
so
chew
metal.
their bones to like pieces, or how was it? Like,
yeah, I'm gonna chew my opponent's bones to dust, I think.
Something like that.
He's crazy.
You know what? If if ever Valorant has like a heavy metal kind of theme, and the lyrics of like the opening song should be like Kang Kang's quotes. I feel like that's what.
I feel also like in the past he was more about the teams. I like the fact that he's humbling a little bit more. You know, I think that he's taking a step back.
He's focused on himself.
Yes.
I think that's a good thing. Good thing.
No. Yeah, I think it's great. I think that the evolution that we're seeing within the players themselves and the personalities coming into emerging with the rest of the community that we already have is perfect.
Well, I guess, you know, when you talk about EDG, you usually talk about Kang Kang, but there's so many other players that are really delivering.
There's actually nobody else to talk about.
There's nobody else to talk about, really. Well, let's send it over to Golden Boy and hear from EDG's Nobody.
Nobody, come here real fast, my friend. Hello, hello. Good to see you. How you doing? Oh, stand right here for me if you don't mind. Yesterday, you guys overcame a massive challenge by defeating Paper Rex. And now, today, you enter a new era here where you have an opportunity to overcome new challenges. Is the next challenge to win the tournament, or are there more in the way?
那其实，在昨天的比赛，你们也是完成了一个属于自己的挑战，打败了 PRX。那你觉得接下来会不会有更多的挑战在等着你们？或许是赢下这整个所有的比赛，又或者说还有其他的挑战，你觉得在等待着你们去完成的？
我觉得今天的对手来说，对我们的话是一个挑战吧。如果今天能够顺利拿下的话，我觉得我们后面的旅程将会一帆风顺。
I think today our opponent is definitely another challenge for us. If we can overcome this, maybe after this we can do everything well.
Right, well, I think a lot of people would love to see that. Good luck to you, my friend. Back to you guys.
Well, it looks like they're just about ready for every single challenge. And I mean, EDG got revenge on Paper Rex. So I think after that history and finally managing to overcome your demons at international tournaments, right? I think like you'd be ready for just about anything.
Yeah, I mean, they've played this team 3 times before at global events, have lost every single time. But in this one, it felt to me like the final evolution of EDG's style. When we first saw them at global, they were this chaotic team who was so focused on individuals, a lot like what kind of FPX is now. But in this match, they were so slow and controlled. They were very focused, especially on the attack side, of playing these really patient mid rounds, waiting for Paper X to mess up, and then finding the gap.
Yeah, and actually that is something that you can expect from Paper X, right? Not the messing up, but actually, you know, they're going for the aggression. They're doing a little bit of those funky plays. I think that adaptation also is going to help them throughout the rest of the tournament because the opponents and the teams look more like Paper X than the conventional teams, especially with how the meta is shaping and how the regions are advancing and moving forward. So good to know that they can get that revenge, but is it going to be enough when put up against different kind of play styles? Like, for example, Genji being more traditional.
I mean, I feel like both these teams actually have really comparable styles, right?
Yes.
They're both now playing that super slow, mid-round heavy style, trying to embed lurks, but both have these like really ridiculous kind of levels of players to step up in the late rounds and win clutches, which I think makes this a very interesting style match.
Speaking of players that really step up and make it into clutches, we have to talk about Haodong because I have to tell, there's almost something eerie about the way he plays. There's always something uncanny. He's always at the right place, at the right time, every single round.
Yeah, exactly. And that is something that made the difference completely on the previous matchup. Seeing the way that he was finding the space, that he was finding the right time, and that he was giving the right information to the rest of the team. I think that we highlight so many IGLs around the world, and it is time that EDG evolves, moves away from that tag of, yeah, we have Kang Kang, he is good on the operator, haha, we do duels, to actually thinking of them as a very high contending team.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, his evolution has really, I think, mirrored the team. As the team has gotten better, so much of it has been about Haodong's IGLing. I think we've really seen him learn from the teams they've played global event after global event. Well, this is the time he's ready to rock up and teach some people, because his lurks were perfect yesterday against Paper Rec. When we talk about exploiting that gap, getting in these mid-rounds, it's all this guy. It's all this guy.
Yeah, again, as I say, it's eerie, it's uncanny, it makes my spider senses tingle.
Well, Boo's not on this team, so I don't see why it would be eerie.
Well, that's true. No need to be shocked or anything. But I feel like, you know, when you talk about EDG, again, you talk about Kang Kang, it's great to see, by the way, that he is also evolving because, you know, you usually lock him onto the duelist role and in the super opper of EDG, but now you see him actually flexing onto different roles. He brought out the KO, for example, a while ago, and he is no stranger at all to events like these. And I believe, Mimi, you did sit down with the EDG duelist, now maybe Flex, to talk about his return to the big stage.
I'm joined here by Kong Kong and our translator DJ. Kong Kong, welcome to Madrid. I wanted to start off by asking you, this is the first event now that you as EDG has been representing the CN International League. How has it changed from previous events to now playing in the league?
那其实对于我们是代表着我们 CN 联赛建赛区以来第一次参加这个世界性的赛事嘛？那你觉得和之前相比的话，来到这次马德里大师赛有没有什么不一样呢？
我觉得这次参加马德里可能更多的是背负 VCTCN 的一些荣誉吧，所以说我要先为兄弟们登上这座山，然后为兄弟们插这面旗。
I think like we kind of like take the pride of our CN League. For all of my brothers from CN, I kind of like I want to climb this mountain for them.
Yeah, well, you're already kind of starting on that quest. I want to ask about some of your games that you played in CN. For EDG, it feels like sometimes when we watch you play, you see kind of different versions of this team. When you played against a team like Case, it's a very like put together team, and when you play against FPX, sometimes it gets a little bit more chaotic. Do you think EDG as a team plays to the level of the opponent they're against?
其实我们会发现 EDG 在面对不一样的对手的时候，其实你们的打法风格会有改变。比如说你们在面对 KC， 可能你们会更团队一些的那样去玩，但是在面对 PRX 的时候，你们又会可能也会打得比较冲啊，比较有是那种打得比较有侵略性那种。那你们会根据队伍的不同来改变你们的打法风格吗？
我觉得这是以前我们的一个弊端吧。然后我觉得我们现在要做的就是。在他们像 PX 他们可能会打得很混乱的时候，然后我们做到，不要被他们的节奏所影响到自己需要打什么的东西。对，我觉得我们现在应该做的是做好自己。对。
I feel like if we change our play style, depends on who is our opponent. It's kind of like a disadvantage of us because we want to like play our own thing, no matter who is our opponent. For example, if it's PRX, we don't want if they play chaotic. If we discipline and do our things, I think that will be better.
Okay, very interesting. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have, but thank you very much for joining me, Kong Kong.
Yeah.
Well, Kong Kong talking about scaling mountains, and the next challenge, the next mountain that they have to scale will be Gen G. This was their first global qualification, and right out of the gate, they took down Loud of all of the teams.
Yeah, I mean, Gen G's debut showed that Pacific was not a fluke. It wasn't just a one-off to go out there and beat a team like Paper X. This squad was here to play. Loud came out playing some funky comps. They went back. They changed onto a Yoru on their Ascend. They did a lot of stuff that I think would be really hard to deal with as a team seeing it for the first time. And Gen G adapted to it incredibly well. Again, comparable to EDG, this team does a great job at slowing down these rounds, not letting themselves get dragged into the chaos, and instead setting up to find the right mid-round idea and adapt to even these weirder comps very well.
And we've been so excited to see, you know, faces coming back and new faces. Lakia is one of them. I think that he had a good day. The fact that we're seeing Texture in such a good form coming into the international stage, those are the kind of players that will make a difference, right? The one that has to be the explosive player and also the one that has to bring all the knowledge and all that calmness onto the stage.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, you mentioned Texture, right? He was a player that was already one of the best duelists to come out of Pacific, and you set him up in a team that complements his playstyle perfectly, and suddenly you have one of the most dominant duelist showings in an entire tournament. That was Pacific Kickoff.
I was honestly kind of disappointed watching him play all of last year and being tossed around on all these.
Wants more. Okay.
I mean, you meant the other day.
No. Think about how many different agents he was playing, how often his role was being switched around. No, he gets on this team. He's playing Jet. He's playing Duelist. He's playing what he's good at, and he's damn good at it.
And he's probably one of the reasons why they were able to manage it, to get this miracle run that Gen G had in Pacific. And I think the fact that he's able to translate it here, and by the way, I do not think that he's still 100%. It's amazing and will probably take Pacific very far.
Well, let's see if we have more from Gen G with Golden Boy and Munchkin.
Munchkin, come here, buddy. Oh, man, it's been so long. We got to get the awkward hugs out of the way. Buddy, it's been a minute. I saw your post online to Kong Kong. You had asked him if he was ready for today. Is it safe to say that you're excited for this match, and why is that?
Just T1 Munchkin lost to EDG, but Gen G Munchkin will not.
Oh, Gen G Munchkin will not. Good to see you, buddy. Always a pleasure. Back to you guys.
All right, welcome
Welcome to Map Select presented by Omen. This is match 2 of the day and we'll go ahead and get started. EDG, do you want Team A or Team B?
Team B.
Team B. So Gen G, you will be Team A and we will start with your first ban.
Ben Bind.
Bind. EDG, your ban.
Ben Lotus.
Lotus.
Yeah.
And map number 1 from Gen G.
We pick Icebox.
Icebox. Side on Icebox.
Attack.
Attack. And map number 2 from EDG.
Split.
Split. Side on split. Attack. Okay, next set of bans starting with Gen G, you have Ascent, Breeze, and Sunset.
Ben Sunset.
Ban Sunset. Your ban, you have Ascent and Breeze.
Ben Ascent.
Okay. So map number 3 by default is going to be Breeze, Gen G, side on Breeze.
Attack.
Attack. All right. Good luck to you both.
No confiaron, pero mira, no. Llego con los míos y la grada explota. Le di la razón al que me quiso ver bien. Lo soñé en mi habitación y ahora en primera me ven. No te hablo del avión, vine por mi cinturón. No confiaron, pero mira, no. Llego con los míos y la grada explota. No confiaron, pero mira, no. Llego con los míos y la grada explota.
A battle for that sure spot into playoffs. China's #1 seed versus Pacific's #1 seed. It's EDG versus Gen G. And we've seen, Mimi, just how hard these teams can punch, even against the best of them all.
They absolutely can. EDG has been a team on a long rise, climbing mountain after mountain. But their next opponent, the new kings of Pacific, Gen G, have been impressing everyone on the run-up to Masters Madrid. And this is their chance to lock in playoffs early.
And it wouldn't be the first time that we see a miracle run in a Masters tournament. And I think that not only making it into playoffs would be enough for Gen G, they should be hungry for more after defeating a world champion in Loud.
But think about for EDG as well. Every international tournament they've attended, they've gotten better. The placement has increased. They ended at a crescendo last year at Champions with a new CN league in place with them on top again. There's definitely that pressure to succeed, to make it international, to represent China the best they can.
I love that you brought that up because, like, you know, you're just reminding everybody that EDG kind of had a later start than all of these teams, right? And now we're seeing them here dominating so many others, and it's going to be a memorable performance for them for sure, especially since, as you mentioned, we're seeing them getting better and better and better.
They're the only team at Masters Madrid who didn't make a roster change into 2024.
That's right.
They are really the last, like, I guess, old guard team that is fully intact.
How
What they
did
used
we
to be.
get here where they are the old guard on a tournament? I think it's crazy and outrageous. And also, if we think about the map veto that we just saw, knowing that Gen G is the team that has played one of them that has played every single map that is out there in the map pool, is very interesting to see where EDG wants to be taking things, and also if Gen G is going to be changing things around.
Yeah, we're starting out on Icebox for this series, and I think this is an interesting matchup because Gen G have been so damn good on this map. They're yet to lose it in 2024. 5-win streak. The last name they took down was Loud, who a lot of people considered one of the kings of Icebox through the history of that team. They play the Gecko KO composition, playing around those dizzy flash combos, and they're so good at it.
And it's perfect, right, to play against EDG. They do not have that much into it, and we see in the agents already.
Yeah, and no changes here. EDG have been playing this comp at home in China. The comparison is playing into that Sova versus that KO. Both these comps play pretty similar when they're on the attacking side. They don't have that Sage Wall, they don't have the Harbor utility, so on their B hits, they have to be fighting forward, going for space. So what I'm looking at in this series is Kong Kong and Texture, two Jet players that we know are incredible, and how well they can be set up to take space forward and allow that plant to come down, or to win the retakes.
Yeah, and I want something else. I want to see the Gecko making and being the difference. I want to not give them the space that they want and actually finding not only the lurkins but the right timings to go into execute.
Well, we're all set for our second match of the day. Let's send it over to our casters. It's Mitch and Tom.
Thank you so much, Mika. I'm very excited for this one, Tom. It looks like we've got a pretty juicy series in front of us. You want to throw out a favorite before we go into it? Any predictions?
Oh, that's brutal.
Throwing under the bus today.
I think I'm slightly leaning the way of Gen G. I think they've been in slightly better form, but EDG are one of those teams that they're on the war path, is the way I want to put it. They are slowly improving, better and better, and their game versus Paprex showed they could weather the storm. Well, they've got slightly different weather conditions as we kick off on Icebox, and that's not the greatest start with T2 already going down.
Yeah, losing out on their Killjoy. A lot of space behind them's now wide open for Gen G to take. So they've got to be a little quicker or move back towards the site, make this a brief site take. Instead, it's going to be much faster as they look to fight on the site. Meteor good for one at least, keeping numbers in favor, but Haodong, this man was impressive, able to constantly get behind enemies, but this time he's taking them head on. 3 kills already, and EDG are back in the round. A fourth just around the corner with Munchkin so desperately low, but Haodong falls. Texture putting up one hell of a fight. Connections, another with the headshot on Smoggy, and nobody, 68 HP. Texture's gonna find it hard to get him dropped with 2 bullets left. He needs to be precise, and he has no idea where nobody has snuck off to. Texture creates some space to pop the reload, back to 6 bullets. A bit more spam ability, and he's right in the corner! Only 1 shot! And he needed both to land. That is 1-0 for EDG.
Yeah, a real back and forth in the initial pistol, and already seeing a little bit of what this man Texture can do with the Sheriff. Definitely fearsome opposition. But I do like this, sort of a slightly more direct approach initially from that side of EDG, just looking to take their way straight in towards the side, and even Texture can bail them out of this one. Of course, just looking at this map in general, we've already seen the actually very, very good attack sides coming out of the side of Gen G. So they're starting on the weaker half, and for EDG, they really struggled, but we've only seen them play it versus FPX, who, I'll be honest with you, that's not a litmus test of how you play a map, because FPX are playing the double duelist, Reyna, Jet, aggro, crazy style of play. So I don't think that it's something to really worry about too much in terms of that match going down poorly. And for EDG, obviously getting off to those good starts, being able to build the economy up a little bit, is a good place to be.
Well, Tom, we've seen the famous words pop up on the screen. Of course, we're in a technical pause here after just the first round. Best time for it. You know, realistically, if you're halfway through a series, that can really break momentum for any team. But right off the bat of the pistol, it's going to give more time to Concon, for example, who had already decided to purchase an Outlaw. Now, this is something I am thrilled to see. I look back at one of their previous Icebox games, didn't see them purchasing the Outlaw, and got very sad because Concon is one of the strongest snipers we see floating around the international scene. And I just think he can maximize the potential of this weapon. So super excited to see if he keeps that, what he can do with it. But for now, we're going to be sitting in this tech pause while Gen G get their gear fixed up.
Yeah, I think this is a match filled with storylines as well. Like, you're looking at Lakia looking to make his way back to a playoffs after a career that hasn't been where it should be. I think that's the best way to put it. He peaked in New Term and now has been on his way back through the entirety of his previous rosters. For Gen G as an organization, this is a real opportunity for them to get into the playoffs. A team that last year started strong but then underperformed, now have an opportunity to do it at a Masters. For the side of EDG, this is a story of, can we now see China overtake Pacific. Because that's the thing. They've been pretty close a couple of times. They've battled versus Paper X many a time and finally beat them just yesterday. Now they have an opportunity to take down both Pacific teams and become, well, basically the kings of Asia. That's what we're looking at here. So it really is an important matchup for either side. Gen G to finally sort of prove themselves, and even just sort of what we saw from Munchkin earlier, the sort of like, okay, I lost to them on T1, but I'm not losing to them here. Maybe just feeling that little bit extra confidence with his new roster, with his new team.
Well, Tom, it looks like we're back. We got to see actually pretty cool over the shoulder of them just testing it there at the end. Mouse is back online, game's running smooth, and so the game is running right back into things with EDG 1-0 up. As we can see, Kankan didn't decide to take the Outlaw. He's gone instead for the Guardian. Different uses, different ideas. On this attack side, nice and slow, little bit of A control. They had the recon go up, but it was contested by the side of Gen G. They've refocused and they look towards the B site. Drone clearing out a ton, and a Viper wall that they can easily push towards the site with. You don't imagine Gen G will be playing ahead of that with their pistols.
Normally in these sort of rounds, you expect Gen G to, like, they'll have utility to deny these plants. Like, you're talking about Nano Swarm, Snake Bites, you're talking about the Mosh, Fragments. But this is a low-buy round, so they haven't used any of that. So it gives a lot easier access, because that's always one of the things we talk about with this sort of composition being run by EDG. They have to take a lot more control to get that plant down. In this sort of round, though, just a farming exercise, a chance for Kankan to really build up those orbs. You know what, he's still going to get a couple. Still makes it a little bit costly.
Trying to see if we're going to have Chichu pick up a weapon. He did make it just about. So 3 rifles carried forward for EDG altogether. Decently successful round, and I think the main thing being that Kankan finds so many kills and the death, this might be able to cancel out some of the economic disadvantages that could be coming after this round. For now, they'll play it as a bonus with some pistols, and he's, Kankan's 3 away from the Blade Storm.
Yeah.
Again, he might be baiting me, but as we get back in, you see a scope in his hand. The weapon dropped over, Tom. We're gonna get it. Let's see what he can do. Attack side Outlaw on this man.
He has to get kills here because he basically needs the Blade Storm for the next round. Okay, Chichu does actually have extra credits, so maybe they could drop an extra one, but it will leave them with some gaps going into the next. Obviously, again, the real benefits of their composition is being able to execute onto that A site. But yeah, it also Kankan just himself.
This is the thing, you've got Karen and Lakia both now terrified because they've got half shields. So that Outlaw rings out and you realize we're in a bit of trouble. I wonder if even an element of that is looking at previous iceboxes and seeing this wasn't a preferred weapon. With Kankan down, that rifle can still be retrieved and used later on. And really, you got to think about damage. You got to think about the game damage. That's the name of the game here.
Either way, we are going to see them building up back towards this A site again. Nice work from Howdong to at least be able to find one. And in this 2v4 situation, it is not looking good. It is not looking good. Really needs to get something. Really needs to get something here.
30 seconds.
And now Karon is the only one remaining. 1 versus 3. Try and turn this. They planted in an audacious spot. I guess expecting him to come around on the flank. This man has been a real showstopper when it comes to Gen G's success, and he might be able to get a second player planting. Definitely got a little bit tight for a second there. Looking to try and isolate one of these jewels, faking out the sound, but now know exactly where he is. Needs to try and drop one of them, and Howdong is waiting on the other side. Great start to this map from EDG.
Well, we've seen these leads fumbled before the 3-0 and the immediate bite back, but this one, it has a very sweet taste for the EDG fans. Their economy is stacked. You've got 3 players floating around that 5K mark. In fact, coming out of that round, you've got players close to 9K, but big reinvestments being made. Big upgrades too. The Blade Storm will be online soon, so definitely no economic struggles. And a Viper's Pit to work with, most likely in this round. Will it be used in this round? That's a different question, but these are huge pieces of utility and abilities to have, where Gen G now find themselves trailing and on an eco.
Yeah, I do wonder when the moment will be that we see Gen G kind of stack up a little bit over on towards that A site. It's what this composition for the side of EDG really relies upon is these A-site hits, because again, it can be quite difficult without having a straight-up blockade of something, like a Cove, or even like, having those extra flashes that you might see coming out of Gecko. For now, at least, though, already shutting down the players in mid, and they are just winning every single battle very easily indeed.
Well, Bladestorm even going to come out here to try and close out this round. I'm not sure this was needed, but you know.
Either a misclick or he's just like, I'm going to get 5 kills next round anyways.
Audacious play if it's the latter. I would side towards a misclick, but maybe it's just asserting the dominance. Oh, first shot, not gonna lie. He's up in the window!
You go what you deserve.
Absolutely. Economic damage now looking pretty good for Gen G. Already 2 rifles dropped. Let's see how many more. Again, there's so much money on the other side, but Munchkin was really starting to dice them up. Howdong was left on 8 HP. Luckily, far enough away. Now, 4-0 we go for EDG, and now the buy comes through from Gen G. But the thing is, the attackers have quite a lot to work with, not just on the credit side. Like we said, the Viper's Pit now is online. The Hunter's Fury is there. The Bladestorm isn't, but that's a different story.
Yeah, he hit 3 headshots, and he only actually got 1 kill from headshots because of some of the players so far away. I'm looking at that operator, though. This is where Texture can bridge the gap a little bit. You can see that gamble already beginning. 3 players over. They're going to look to try and pressure, but this is why they have 3 players on the other side of the map. The reliance on Texture. No escape available at this stage, so he's just going to have to run. And he will hightail it out, but there's been a catch in mid.
Yeah, this is a big kill. Losing their utility, they're going to filter back in very quickly on the side of Gen G to take that space, but the cost is massive. 2 kills and a big player taken down. If Gen G decide, or if EDG, pardon me, try to switch directions, Gen G would be blind to it. Up close here, Texture's already used his dash. There's no easy way out. And with the shot not hit, nobody is punishing again and again. Lakia, the last man standing. Once the herald of this region. It was all we heard about again and again. Oh, wait till he steps on the international stage. Well, doesn't look too good in this one. There's a 1v4 though, so we'll give him a chance. 5-0.
Doesn't he only play Bind?
Yeah, I think they messed up their roster on this one. Oh, that was a those are
dark days.
Yeah.
It's really funny as well because the first map Gen G banned was Bind. So we're not doing it to you, buddy. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. But no, what a start from EDG. This is a map that they played once in the season in China. They lost to FBX, and that was in the final. And on the other side of things, a 5-0 record, beating RRQ twice, Team Secret, Zeta, and of course Loud, which we saw within this tournament. So you're talking about a Gen G in massive form on this map, and an EDG that have barely played it and lost. And right now, they're winning 5-0.
Well, the sign in the audience might be spot on, op long, and right here they've given an op over to Kankan. An opportunity for EDG to further extend that score line. Their opponents not having a lot of credits. They're going to be coming in with a couple rifles, maybe a big iron on a couple players' hips. But for the most part, it's not going to be pretty. Tom, this is a flying start for EDG on their attack side. Do we expect Gen G to turn it around on the next?
It's
what's
possible.
What's their minimum, their benchmark?
I'm looking at this round purely because Texture is a Bladestorm.
Okay.
He is one of the OGs when it comes to the Korean jet, and if he starts hitting his shots, that's why they've actually invested a decent amount. Like Munchkin's bought a rifle, along Karon has as well, but I genuinely think they believe they can win this round when Texture has a Bladestorm. He is that good.
Well, he's had a tough time when it came to the operator up on B. And one of the other things is the consistent knife coming out of Smoggy early on sort of deters that early aggression. You're never really going to have a chance to actually use it now. You have heard that Bladestorm pop.
He's lost it.
And he's gone for a moment. For a moment. It will be back, and there's no pressure immediately applied. But they are keeping 3 players towards the B site, and this is exactly what EDG want. The rotates just now started for Gen G, but EDG are already knocking on the door of A. It's all about pace here. How soon they're going to actually commit to this. It looks like not soon enough. Texture has rotated in, and in fact, Karen's on the way to help out. It's going to be a stacked site, and Munchkin at least grabs one. This is what we needed to see, and Texture now canceled out completely.
Yeah. Second time he's lost it, but he was given an opportunity. Nice shot from Meteor, though. Gonna go back in with the Sheriff. Still just means a 1-for-1 trade, but Karon's starting to step up. This is starting to look doable as he gets a second off the back of the Guardian. And now that Bladestorm, at least a couple of knives should be online. Smoggy just waiting patiently. Little bro is going to give his position away, and eventually, finally, that knife comes through. The MasterCard Thrifty will give Gen.G their first round.
Yeah, Texture waited quite a while to get to use that. A funny round from them, but the early contact on B, I guess from EDG, the fact that they didn't follow it up, you have the drone go through, the knife fall, and then they immediately move towards that A site, but shifting the whole way. It allowed them to rotate in on the side of Gen.G on time. They were ready for this play, and they obviously held back until you saw those knives come back online. Good crunch, and 5-1 on the board. This was not a round that most people would have expected them to take, and if they did, probably off a massive play from Texture.
No, I thought they'd win it, but yeah.
You just expected the one kill from the Bladestorm, did you, Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah, that adds up.
Let's just not play back any of the audio of what I said.
No, we can replay it later. It's okay. The op again on Texture. He has another opportunity. And the dash still online.
As well.
They've been spotted. Yeah, that recon just saw the player in the corner. This would have been a great bait, firing the op, running back, telling them like, oh, I'm scared, and then easily mowed down by Lakia.
At the aggressive position as well. Like, Munchkin has pushed up. Nice shot from Meteor as always. Won that battle versus Chichu for the first time. Now this position becomes a little bit more audacious because you already have the man advantage. You don't really need to be in such an aggressive position anymore, but there isn't a safe way out. This needs to be at least a 1-for-1 trade, and I think he's going to get maybe even more than that. The only thing is the timing. There's that first, but Smoggy comes around the corner. The hard check.
Spike down A.
Really saved the day with that one. Nobody's going to recon out after dropping Texture, making it up top, but Chiron spotting it. And for EDG, the spike is now down. They've got plenty of control. The B side is theirs. But what are they going to do with it? Nothing without that spike. It's Concon, 1 versus 3, 20 seconds left. And it seems like this round is already over. No, the angle's a little off on Timmy. So he's sneaking his way through, but now he's being spotted. And with 12 seconds left, there is no chance to plant. They're just going to send one player. Well, actually, they're going to scatter in every direction, ensuring no matter what, he can't get all 3 kills.
If it was anyone else, I think maybe there'd be a bit of confidence. You're going, do we want to face into Concon? No, not really. They are going to hit the steps, though.
That's why.
That's the exact reason why. So clean with it. But I'm liking the adaptations we're already seeing from Gen.G. That was the exact thing I was saying in the early rounds is, are they going to now adapt to stack up that A side? Because, as said, with all the utility that's there for EDG and without having something to help them get the plant on that B site, it becomes a lot easier to fall back into the same sort of traits of going in towards that A site and looking for that after plant. So they've just started stacking up players. You've had aggressive positioning from Munchkin, and then they've gambled in the early round. Okay, let's see if they push B. If they don't, we'll quickly rotate. And it's worked for them so far.
Well, Gen.G certainly starting to find their footing on this defensive side. The 5-0 was worrying, concerning. But it's still very much alive. Even in the last series, thinking about the Lotus game, you saw Sentinels flying into the lead, and it's much closer at the halftime. It's fairly common for teams to need that little bit of time to see how your opponents are playing.
To what you were saying earlier, I think for minimum 5 rounds, I think Gen.G are fine. They've shown that they have normally about 6 to 8 rounds every single time they play their attack side, so it's definitely their favored of the lot. Looking to now set up in towards this B-tape, but again, the read from Gen.G, they've got that early rotation, they've set Texture up over on the A site, and actually, we're going to see a Hunter's Fury popped. They're going to try and get that opener, and they might just succeed. Nice work to take out Karen. That weakens the defense a bit, but there are still multiple players here, and the hold on mid to make sure they can't rotate back.
Well, that hold's just now given up, but they're aware it could still be online. Instead, they're going to commit towards the B side rather than going to A, and it's worked out fantastically. Just Munchkin left. He's got some support on the way. Meteor just making it through the halls, but look who's right behind them. Nobody snuck his way in, and he's grabbed a quick double. The lead now convincingly in their favor, and with a lurk from Chichu, the final nails in the coffin for that round. 6-2. EDG back on the board.
That was just gorgeous. The way they isolated each of the fights, okay, I'd say the Hunter's Fury had a little bit of risk to it, but you could normally gamble, especially after seeing the snake bite. You know that he's on yellow, so either you clear yellow or you have at least a kill. And then on the other side of things, just lovely little interplay. The pop flash coming out of Smoggy, he's already racking up the assists, and well, you're going to bank on if you blind an opponent, Concon's getting that kill.
I think I'd be pretty confident with that one. So long as he's on the same side of the map, that player's dropping now. Retake with a Viper's Pit. Even the pistols can be deadly inside of that, and a Thrash online as well. There's definitely potential for Gen G to play retakes with some success. Although, again, it would be risky. Really, if we see them commit anything big, I imagine it's going to be on the back of a couple kills first. And they need to find those. Texture, a good candidate for it, but they're going to be forced back by this lockdown.
I think that's been the problem, because some of these ults have been online for a little while now, but they just haven't really found any opportunities to actually be able to use them. And a lot of that is because they've stacked the right sites most times. And at least the lockdown and other stuff is very good for retaking. Again, they do a little bit of damage, but ultimately, Mitch, not really much to write home about.
No, and I think certainly not with the amount of credits that are in play for most of the EDG players. Even the reinvestments will keep them with a 2-round buffer. So for Gen G, coming towards the latter stage of this half with just a couple rounds left to compete for, yeah, it's not ideal. They have those 2, rounds 6 and 7, under their belt. Things were looking good, but we do need to see them build the rest of those foundations fairly soon. And, well, Tom, you've just pointed at my screen, and I almost just don't want to bring it up. But, yeah, I said Lackey has had a tough time.
It's
He's
the
still
no
having a tough
assists
time.
as well. Like, it means that so far there's been almost literally no impact, which is a pretty scary prospect. I've loved the way that they've used this combination of Gecko and KO in the past. So far, it's just not really Kankam has definitely extra sound. I don't think it's ludicrous to say that Gen G have a decent idea of where they're going. Already 3 players sat within the A site. Alert from Chichu. This battle between him and Meteor has been a regular occurrence, but this time it looks like it might go amiss.
Sorry guys, I was busy.
Chichu's at least been spotted, but they don't react in time. A free kill for him, but not the follow-up. Meteor's at least able to keep this control as the lockdown now is a big threat for EDG. They're going to give up the site control. Spams on the way as they retreat. Concon keeping their back secure, but a Viper's Pit to stop them from getting back into the site, to stop them from keeping their Viper's Pit online. EDG completely shut out of the A site. Now they've got to go looking elsewhere, but in fact, they've already gone looking elsewhere. They've pushed up mid, made it through the tube. They'll be spotted immediately by the turret, but with 5 HP here, a big threat for Texture. He's got an op that can one-hit them. If they've got anything, they can one-hit him back.
Yeah, they still have the spike over on A, though. They are still going in this direction. Howdong needs to find something here, and he does. It leaves it down to just one player actually within the site. They have to go running in, though. Karon might be able to just ruin their day, and that's exactly what he'll do. 3 kills, a good reaction initially off the back of the Viper's Pit, but also a solid hold as he was the last point of defense.
And just a really good read from him as well, that if he sits inside that pit, they'll push in. If they go through the pit, probably he gets them both, but there's a rope right up top, and it's dangerous. Instead, he just waits for them, lets them try to jump straight through to get the plant. The time was what was putting the pressure on them. Yeah. 7-3. Gen G found another round. Economy's good. Thrash online. They committed a couple ultis to the previous, but they also managed to deny Howdong's Viper's Pit. This is an incredibly aggressive push coming out of Munchkin. No flash on the corner. Looks like he just wants to hold it, but soon you have to imagine he goes for that peak. He's out in no man's land, backed up by Karan, but now the real trouble comes into play. Where can he go from here?
Oh, they haven't actually pressured. I guess at this point they expect that there's an operator on the angle.
Yeah.
So they don't gonna go pushing around that corner and give Texture a free kill. Little do they know, Texture actually isn't there at all. He's on the other side of the map, and again has a little bit of aggressive support from Lakia. A slower approach though from EDG, and this is what works for them. They've been very good at pulling those rotations. The calls from Howdong have been fantastic. For now at least, looking like a similar setup to what we've seen before. Now, Karan has to be careful. He got isolated last time. In fact, he's playing anti-flash, ready for it, and will even pick off that first kill.
He's done extremely well. They know he's here, but the backup is covering him until he swings into Concon. A dangerous play for anyone to make. One that, well, was punished that time, but the trade is good. 2 versus 4. Munchkin and Meteor extremely low after that engagement. But what can really be done by just a lone gun of Smog?
Game over.
15 seconds or so to get that spike on the ground. And It looks like it will make it to the ground. Unfortunately, not planted. 7-4. Gen G, well, they've certainly recovered this one after a shaky start and a couple bumps in the road. They could have a 7-5 half.
Yeah,
भाई मस्त मैच है सेंटिनल्स का.
That'll be workable for them. I do think they're going to have to be careful because, as you've already mentioned, the sniper
देखा था रेट वाला.
Kankan on the other side is always going to be a prospect, but they
देखा
made
था
this
ना रेट
one
वाला
look
राउंड.
doable after what was a blitz of a first 5 rounds. Even still, though, an 8-4 and EDG are not going to be too worried whatsoever. Looking to again build up in towards the A site. The real threat, as always,
इस मैप के बाद पढ़ाई कर लूँ थोड़ी आज.
They're already going to clear the close angles. That it almost seems like a direct counter to just the position that Munchkin was playing earlier.
नहीं पिछले हफ्ते का दोस्त.
Well, here comes the Nova. And assumably, the rest of the EDG squad will be following up with it. A full
कौन सा पिछला मैप कौन सा था भाई?
Lakia seems to be point of contact. It's
Lotus ना.
nobody to find one with texture down. Munchkin soon to follow.
Ooh.
EDG find a
Lakia का एक kill हो गया.
Lakia just the one before he falls, as the defensive side is now locked out. 2 versus 3. Meteor, okay, he's caught nobody up top. The spike still not planted, but Smoggy finds both kills.
हाँ तो उसी में भाई नरेट उसी में है. कहाँ भाई बॉब में. उसी की बात कर रहा हूँ. ये भी कॉल करता हूँ मैं जयपुर वाले ग्रुप पे.
Yeah, Lakia got his first kill in that round, so there you go. He's at least on the board, but it definitely was a rough half from him.
इस मैच के बाद स्ट्रीम में कर रहा हूँ. थक मन नहीं अभी करने
I think the side of EDG are going to be very, very happy.
Burnout सा हो रहा
It's gone a fantastic start for them, but also just continuously adapting. I think they did very well, slowing down a lot of the rounds and just playing with their opponents for the majority of this half.
Yeah, most definitely well on the side of Gen G. They've gotten warmed up, but I want to hear.
पर तू बता भाई कैसा? तू खुश है भाई? Sorry。
是有打赢他们的方法的，但是我们一直因为我们的心态没有放开，导致我们的操作很变形吧。因为我们在赛前的时候有看他们的比赛录像，他们是已经有拿出过这套阵容的，而且我们在赛前我们有很多的研究去如何去应对他这个。我觉得今天浩东是今天潜伏的最好的吧，他今天在图2的时候扮演的对我们的帮助很大很大，工作了，我觉得对我们今天掰平比分很重要，对。然后图3的话，我觉得就是我们整体的一个协同跟练习了这么久的战术的一个展现吧。
Managed to get one. The Boombot's done a significant amount of damage, but he's still in the corner. They haven't spotted him. Still just surviving now. Chi-Chu's found another as well. I don't know how these rounds are going down in the fashion they are. Howdong still alive. Howdong cleared this.
देख के गुस्सा आ रहा है.
我们的信心就在来自于我们的两位教练组吧，他们两位对我们的赛前的，就是如何针对对面做出了很多他们各自的想法吧，然后去帮助我们在赛前训练的时候去练习，然后去适应可能会遇到的情况，种种的变化吧，这就是我们现在临场比较厉害的一个点吧。我想对这些黑子来说，我知道我们一直以来我们队伍的争议很大吧，我不在乎黑子们说什么，我只知道我们的团队潜力很足。
Where obviously we can talk about the interview there with Chi-Chu and how well
हाँ
did
देख लिया मैंने.
First map removed.
He's come back.
Not really surprised by that one. I wouldn't want to play against that man either, but the fact
ADJ team का fest cancel हो गया.
it's mainly been a team effort. And I do feel like a couple of the pieces were missing in that first half. Now, the thing that works with this comp for Gen G is those executes around that double flash. The dizzy flash combo that you can throw out with KO is fantastic.
कितने लोग जा रहे हैं भाई?
To get off the mark here. Otherwise, they're going to have to head into Split, which has been an amazing map for EDG.
Yeah, it's been tough so far. Like you said, that get-go on Lakia, it's hard not to be drawn to.
He's dead.
Well, that's about as poor a start as you could get for the poor guy. He's got the 1 kill, no assists on the back of it.
अबे भाइयों का थ्रू डाल रहा है.
Pick up the pieces here in the pistol. Already finding a lot of
अभी बट वो जानने की हुआ क्या? अभी बट वो जेल में मतलब जेल में नहीं था वो. Basically उसको वहाँ रखा हुआ था. बाहर ही. तेरे को लगता है जेल में डाल.
It couldn't get any easier. There you go. Smoggy down. Nobody left. 1v.
कुछ से सोच के बता दिल पे हाथ रख.
The time
पूछ
is on
खुद से
Gen.G's side.
आंखों में आंखें
This will
डाल
be
के
a impressive clutch, to say the least.
तो तूने बोला क्या वो सही बोला
He's got the first already. Okay, maybe there is a chance. A Meteor down below quickly shuts it down. Big round for Gen.G to get on the board.
Yeah, you can take the man off the duelist, but you can't take the duelist out of the man. Meteor has been
तेरे को क्या चाहिए
clean
1v2
so
या
far in
1v10
this game.
कभी भी आ जा
17 and 10, really putting up a lot of numbers individually.
जगह
Just
तेरी टैम
finding
तेरा
space. That was basically what he did this round. Just while the rest of the action was
Hey,
going on,
hey,
where
hey,
it
hey.
won't be long, just manages
कोई
to
आ गया
get
कोई आ
through that mid position and find
और
that
तू वो वीडियो
initial
देख
fight.
ले लाइक मत कर पागल
It's going to put them at least, well, if they convert this round within touching distance. And as said, that's all they really need. Like a lot of the games that we've seen from them, they've managed 8 rounds over on this attacking side. So they can easily get this over the line. And, well, what a start to have already. Kankan down, one of the main danger players. Because you have to bear in mind, EDG have been unbelievable with their pistols. Even when they have nothing.
आईजी पोस्ट डाल दो कैप्शन बता
Oh yeah, they were a very scary
तेरा
team.
डीपी जो है
Goes in. What we're seeing right here for
हाँ
DG,
हाँ
4 players
डाल
stacked
दे
up and ready to go. Flash out.
कैप्शन
Kill not coming in onto the
1v
little
me
guy. So the plant has been secured. EDG numbers thinned out. That
1v
defensive side doesn't stand any chance at this stage. You have
Chichu
to imagine Chichu 35 HP and
अरे
a
कुछ भी लिख दे
1v3
अगर जो भी
with
तेरे माइंड में
Sheriff
सबसे
in
पहला
hand.
वर्ड है ना वो
And 2 of his opponents have rifles with a double peek setup. I don't know how he hit that shot, but thank God Texture was up top to cover.
Yeah, they've made that one really costly though. 3 players go down, so it's definitely not ideal. And I believe they lost at
अगर
least a
तू
Guardian in that round. So
पोस्ट
it's not
डालेगा
like
ना
you had a load of pistol players alongside them. So I think
तो
they can
मैं
be
भी
very
पोस्ट
happy with
डालूंगा
that, especially when for the majority that was them fighting up against an afterplant. So I think that EDG have done well to make that one as costly as possible, and because of that, well, Lucky is only going to have himself a pistol. We'll see though. These
भाई
A-side takes is where I
लड़
really
लगे
enjoy
है
watching this squad play. I think EDG know that. They've got 3 players here initially.
Well, early control is taken by the side of Gen.G. They've also put an alarm bot to cover the walk up.
भाई मीटियोर
That's a
गिरेगा
very
क्या हम पे
aggressive stance. I don't think we saw that from EDG on their attack side at all. No turret to cover their back either. Where's that being placed? It must have been destroyed early. And for EDG, you said 3 players on A. They're still there. But the drone clearing out some space might cause that rotate to come through. I just wonder if Gen.G are planning to go back here with Meteor still being so far up, or if he's trying to sneak behind them, which it looks like that was the idea. Not very successful.
बेबे
Gonna have Lackid looking to try
आज
and lead
वैलो
the
आ जाओ
charge. There's a snake bite down. I don't know if that's actually going to
इसके
deny
बाद
them. It
कैसे
isn't. Managed to reposition, so that's something at least. Already though, with that man advantage and Chichu on a fast flank. Bear in mind, because they lost Meteor, they don't actually have any flank watch. He is just walking up behind them. This is looking like some of the freest kills he's ever going to have. Manages the first, but now he's just a nuisance and continues to be a flawless round coming out of the side of EDG to put themselves back on the board.
Yeah, this is a big round. I mean, as soon as they take down Meteor, they make the realization the push wasn't coming in there from the drone earlier, from the lack of footsteps and follow-ups, and the lack of entry. There was no dash in, there was nobody taking the space, no flashes, just a guy sneaking up. That's clearly a
अब एक तो पता नहीं क्या नया ट्रेंड चल गया है भाई गेम में कि जो इनिशिएटर है वो एक किल ही लेगा मोस्टली हर मैच में एक बंदा ऐसा होगा नया ट्रेंड है इवेंट है कि एक बंदा होगा कि किल ही नहीं ले पा रहा होगा और मोस्टली इनिशिएटर ही होता है वैसे तो बट पता नहीं क्या स्क्रिप्ट लिखी हो इल्यूमिनाटी वगैरह क्योंकि तुम्हें पता है जो हम लोग हैं ना भी ऊपर एक बात है
Already one online. No command available.
मूवी देखी है स्पाइडरमैन वाली अमेजिंग स्पाइडरमैन वाली उसमें तुमने देखा है कि वो लिजर्ड होता है ना तो वो सच में है
He's managed to avoid both, and Kankan, you can't allow him
ये पीक
to
करेगा
survive.
पीक करेगा
These sort of possessions just continues his aggression. Karon, the only one left,
तो
does still have the spike.
लाइक जैसे वो
Try and get the ransom, but Chichu picks him out of the sky.
I think it's fair to say he expected that. Very nice crosshair placement from him. I assume that wasn't just a reactive shot, because that would be a little bit ridiculous.
हाँ तो मैं बता दूँ ना, तो फिर उसमें जैसे होता है ना वो लिजर्ड होता है, तो वैसे ही रेप्टाइल्स है। तो वो हमारे ऐसी 3 लोग हैं जो टॉप पे बैठते हैं, लिजर्ड मैन कहते हैं उन्हें, वही सबसे ऊपर है, टॉप ऑफ द फूड चेन, पता नहीं होगा। और उसके बाद तुम जब इल्यूमिनाटी की बात करते हो ना, वो एक अलग वो है, बट ये दोनों ही वर्ल्ड को चलाते हैं, वो एक एज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, और ये 3 लोग पूरा वैसे देखते हैं। बट तुम्हें अगर मैं बताऊँ, जो ये 3 लोग हैं ये बाहर की दुनिया के लिए कुछ और है, मतलब इनको वो लीडर बोलते हैं, बट ये इंडिया के लिए वो है ब्रह्मा विष्णु महेश, मतलब शिव जी, ब्रह्मा जी और विष्णु। ये रियल स्टोरी है। तभी 3 वाला है, तुम कभी सोचो अभी वो 3 लेजर्ड वाला करता है। और वो जो इल्यूमिनाटी वाली आंखें है ना, वो भी शिव जी की है, जैसे बना रखा है पिरामिड वाला। पिरामिड मतलब वो जो पहाड़ है ना, वो पिरामिड है, वो पिरामिड नहीं है, वो बेसिकली माउंटेन है, और जो वो आंख मतलब शिव जी है।
We're not going to see any damage dealt. A flawless round for EDG. And if you're on this attacking side, it feels like they're just running headfirst into a brick wall. This is an opportunity as they get the rifles out, but Tom, it could be their last real opportunity. Some ultis online, some rifles in hand, and EDG 2 rounds away from taking it.
I'll be honest with you, the way this match is going so far, this could be a statement from EDG. Because they played versus Paperex, a team they've never been able to beat. They beat them in a long fought-out series. They come in here, this is a map 5-0 for the side of Gen G, and they're going into Split next, which is their best map. If they just demolish Gen G here, I think we have to start switching our expectations. And for the side of Gen G, well, we heard from Munchkin earlier, this was going to be the time that he manages to get his revenge. It is not looking likely right now.
This drone's going to get so much information as well. Here comes the dash, and the dash Uncon as well. He is repositioning and caught, falling out of the sky. Smoggy's made it out.
Actually, Karen goes down trying to kill him.
Oh no.
Chichu has managed to get that kill. I think he was up top.
भाई क्यों खेलना शुरू करो?
Shouldn't matter too much. The HP is so much in favor of their opponents. I don't know how EDG are going to find a gap in here. Oh, Texture's kind of got lost a little bit. No cover either. Somehow we're back in a 3v3.
Yeah, EDG have managed to create their own opportunities. The real problem, though, is the time on the clock and the amount of Gen G players tucked away. EDG make the call. They go aggressive to try and root these players out of post-plant positions, but Meteor's got an angle, and up top, they've spotted that there's not 1 but 2 players ready to pounce. A good response from Gen G. The gap is only 4. It's obtainable, but this road is filled with peril.
Yeah, I'm not sure I feel like I believe at this point. There hasn't been too many convincing rounds, even when Gen G have been winning it. We've had multiple flawless rounds already from EDG in this half. Like, look, they're buying in with an operator and can still comfortably buy this round and the next. So this is already where the game changes. They also had to use the Thrash to actually be able to take the space. They're not going to have that one in this round, but they are 1 away from a lockdown. Already, a lot of information garnered by the side of EDG. That initial knife has spotted the majority of players. Viper's Pit could be thrown in here. Current's actually rotated in very early. Such an aggressive mid position. But they can actually hold this spot and keep 3 players within the site. And similarly to what they did with the lockdown, if they throw Viper's Pit in here, it may just be used to deter. I don't know if that will connect. I don't think it did.
Doesn't look like it. Player slightly out of the circle, especially with the height of it. Flash in deep, but he already saw him. Well handled to find the first. The numbers sitting towards Gen G with the site under their control, and now the actual advantage. 4 versus 3. EDG on the fight back. They've got a flank underway. They've managed to sneak their way up pretty close with that turret down. They've got a lot of control, but Gen.G have to be aware of this. Even as the turret comes back up for a moment, it's too late. They've already gotten past, and it's Con, the danger man. Now operator in hand, dash online, Blade Storm in the back pocket, and he's making his way forward. He's making noise while the rest of his team come in to fill the gaps.
भाई ये वाला तो कांग का मैं कह रहा था.
That's an ambitious way to try and take that fight. Munchkin's actually got an opportunity now, but Smoggy saves the day for EDG. That could have been a way back through for the attacking side. Instead, it's 12-7. EDG on map point on their opponent's map pick.
Yeah, this is the thing that's now become peculiar, because although Meteor has probably been the best player individually for Gen.G, that's a couple of times now where I feel like they've been boxed in either from him dying and just not realizing his util gone, or in that case, him being so far forward that his util goes offline. Now that's a mistake that you just can't have. You're in a man advantage. He doesn't need to be that far forward, and if he is, somebody else needs to be aware of it. Those are mistakes that if you give those over to EDG, you're done. You can't allow Kankan that much space.
This is it. It was a small window, and I think obviously a lot of this impact coming out of Smoggy popping the ult. This just delayed Gen.G's info and allowed that gap for Kankan to sneak up behind. 5 opportunities to close out this map and send us to split, where EDG will look to close the door on Gen.G's run. This is a scary time. Gen.G, they looked very, very good regionally, but wow, it was a big challenge.
They also beat Loud.
That's true. Yeah,
like that's
absolutely.
The thing. Is like they look good regionally. They beat Paperex. They beat Loud. They beat DRX. Like these are all teams that in the past would have beaten them. All 3.
3 out of 3 times in the case of Paperex.
So they have been massively improving, but the fact is, right now Gen.G look a little bit flat, and they're making errors that I just didn't really expect to see on their map choice on one of their best maps. It is not what you want to be seeing, and as said, there are a few maps that I would heavily hand over to the side of EDG, and one of them is Split. Funnily enough, the other one is actually Breeze. I've not enjoyed, like, Gen.G have had some rough games of Breeze, so they lose this map, and well, EDG have 2 opportunities on maps that I favor them on to close out this series.
But you know, 4 ultimates is usually a very strong position, but more so for EDG. If they had 4, they could dump them all into a round and just claim 1 round win, move on to the next map. For Gen.G, they have to be a bit more conscious of how they use these. So obviously off rip, you're going to see the Blade Storm make up the economic disadvantages. Munchkin also using his ultimate, the null command, I mean, robbing them of their abilities if they're close enough, and the Viper's picking them. So I said they need to reserve them. They have dumped them into this round, with a lockdown being the only thing they'll carry through to the next.
I don't know if they will.
That's the thing, if they keep it.
Yeah, the Judge investment, I like it from Munchkin. He's going to play a close corner within this Viper's pit. I feel like they almost need this one just to keep their economy strong, and they are utility dumping. Already Texture's going to pick off one, but so much util thrown in to clear him out. It's easier said than done, though, as he takes out Chichu along with it. Nobody trying to clear this backline. Somehow Kankan's found another. They may not get to use that ultimate at all, because they're being picked apart. It's left all on to Karon, but the time is ticking low. If he gets this kill, it's surely done, and it will be. But he's going to go down with it. That was meant to be an economy builder, as they spam all their ultimates bar 1. And they don't even get a single player out alive.
Yeah, that's, I mean, just take a look
मैंने
at
स्टोरी सुनाई थी.
No one's able to get their full shields alongside the rifles. Maybe one player is, but that's about it.
मैं सुनी नहीं था.
This is going to be a really tough position to play from, because, like we said, there's almost 2 ways you could look at it. Save the ultis and try to use 1, maybe 2, incrementally tick them over and use them as safety nets in these rounds, or dump them and build that economy.
भाई कांग मेरे को FTP सुना दे. अभी सुना.
This is the worst of both
worlds. It came down to Rebel Clutch. That's all you really need to know. And
now they've got
it was
to do
clutched by the spike.
I also, worth mentioning, I like EDG's approach to just not play heads up into the Viper's pit, to move around the back and try to contend for the backside all the way down that laneway. It's a good idea, and you can see it very nearly worked for them. I think if Gen.G had slightly less ultimates pop,
he going?
The round would have fallen away. This man's crazy. He hasn't even popped his dash yet.
Yeah, he also doesn't know that someone's already crossed to the other side. So this really is a very, very audacious. He's dead. He's definitely dead.
कैसे भाई?
That was maybe slight misinformation, but even still a filthy shot to open. The take in the meantime has come in onto the B site. A single bullet tapped, and Chichu just ruins his opponent. They're not even going to get the spike down, and now this is a problem. things become so much more difficult. The spam through from nobody is so clean. And now Texture, the hero, the man that has been highlighted throughout this tournament so far. He's got to find 3 to try and save them. The spike is down. Nobody has already spotted him on the angle. There is no hope.
GG.
EDG come through with
चलो
a
चलता हूँ.
dominant victory when it comes to
अब
map
कल
number 1.
करूँगा stream.
And they have
Bye
their
bye.
choice next.
Yeah, this is where it gets scary, Tom. Like you said, you said off camera coming into